59 for the overnight low. Tuesday, partly sunny, warmest day of the week, 63 degrees. Cold front comes through Tuesday night. Partly cloudy, windy, and cold, 37. Dry Wednesday and Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, in the 40s. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. If you need a new furnace, get Carrier Cool Cash rebates and 0% financing so you'll be nice and cozy as the weather turns. For a free estimate on a new heating system, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Frey, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
We've just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against, a lot of smart people, starting with the early primaries against some very tough people, very smart people. And he beat them easily.
They got one thing in common. They got the fire down below. That was a little Bob Seger to start the show. Also extremely inappropriate to talk about Trump, the President of the United States, with the mayor-elect of New York, Mamdani. By the way, hey, this is the Mannie Frey Show. Annie will have the day off today and tomorrow. She'll be back Wednesday. The whole of us will be back on Wednesday all together, and then we'll be off for Thanksgiving. So it's going to be a nice week for us.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will be for you, too. So welcome to the Mannie Frey Show. Are you paying attention to anything in the Trump-Mamdani meetings? I found this kind of fascinating. I don't think there was any major news that came from it, but just the fact that they were talking. A lot of people were kind of upset at both of them for talking to each other. I was not at all. Maybe you are. But on reading this, Charlie Gasparino, did I pronounce his name?
Gasparino, yeah.
Okay. Charlie Gasparino was reporting on this. I don't know exactly who his source was, but he kept saying his sources were telling him that this was a meeting that was not sought by Trump, that this was sought by Mamdani. And that Trump simply said, sure, because that's what Trump does. If somebody wants to go talk to Trump, Trump talks to them. And that's why the government shutdown is so funny, because the door is always open with Donald Trump, especially if you can get something done. You can come in for a meeting. I heard people talking this morning about how he's just kind of he moves. He never has any sort of common belief. His beliefs change with any given moment to get things done. Well, that's part of his deal making, is that he in the moment will alter what he is demanding from a situation to just get something done. That's why he is a deal maker. It doesn't mean that's the only way to do a deal. That's just the way Donald Trump does it. But he invited Mamdani to the office, and they did talk, and they did do it publicly, which I always like. It's not just like, oh, yeah, we can talk, but we're only going to talk behind closed doors. No, if you're going to come talk to me, we're going to talk for a little bit behind closed doors. We'll have lunch, and then we'll do a press conference for everybody to ask questions. And I really thought there was a lot of good questions that came out of that meeting for both of them. One of them, Brad, you said, yeah, Trump came out looking like a gangsta
Yeah.
on this one. And I think I've got this one pulled up here.
That's 7.
It is a reporter asking Mamdani to his face, with the president sitting right there, if he still thinks Trump is a fascist, as he had stated.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay.
It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Yeah, he said that.
He just slaps him on the back after. It's okay, you can say that. Slaps him on the shoulder.
But then, there are ramifications for saying this guy's a fascist, because if he is, then why would you go meet with him and say, hey, we can find some common ground? A fascist, really, the point of labeling somebody that is that they are irredeemable.
Mm-hmm.
They're so far gone that there's nothing you could really ever do. They're just in it for power in themselves.
If there's one thing I know about communists is they hate themselves some fascists.
I guess. Antifa hates fascists a lot, but they act like fascists. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Antifa got its origins in Germany.
Uh-huh.
It was the Communist Party.
Well, they are anti-fascists,
Right,
though.
because fascists aren't left enough for them.
So they go out and start riots. So then after this meeting, Mamdani went on to Kristen Welker's. Is that Meet the Press? I
Yeah.
can't remember which
Yeah.
show is
Yeah,
which
yeah.
now. Kristen Welker's the interviewer, and asked that question. Hey, wait a minute now, just based on what we were just saying, if you said Trump is a fascist, why'd you go meet with him and try to find common ground? I thought that meant that they were irredeemable.
Press conference with President Trump, a reporter asked you whether you believe that President Trump is in fact a fascist, a word that you've used in the past. You were about to answer, then President Trump sort of jumped in and he said, quote, "That's okay, you can just say yes. It's easier than explaining it." So, Mr. Mayor-elect, just to be very clear, do you think that President Trump is a fascist?
And after President Trump said that, I said yes. And
so you do.
And that's something that I've said in the past. I say it today. And I think what I appreciated about the conversation that I had with the president was that we were not shy about the places of disagreement about the politics that has brought us to this moment. And we also wanted to focus on what it could look like to deliver on a shared analysis of an affordability crisis for New Yorkers.
So, okay, so there's some common ground we're trying to find with the fascists. The two things just don't work. I'm sorry. And I'm glad that you're meeting. I'm not even saying that I think the meeting was stupid. I'm glad that it happens because when you have, I mean, you could say Trump is the farthest. He's not even really far right. He's more populist right. But let's say that he is like the most extreme character in the history of Republican politics, at least in our lifetime, and causes mental illness in people who hate him. Okay, so he's like an extreme figure, right? Then Mamdani is really the inverse opposite extreme on the left. He doesn't seem to be the angry extreme, or at least he has this nice polished kind of Gavin Newsom thing going on. But he is policy-wise very extreme. So having these two guys in the room together, to me, is a very, very good thing going into Thanksgiving or whatever you want to say. This is the time to do that stuff. You probably heard Bill Maher talking over the weekend about Thanksgiving and all the different people who are cutting people out of their lives because of their politics and how that's stupid and how that's bad. But the big question to me here was not, should they be meeting? But what does this do? Does this accomplish anything? Not necessarily for Donald Trump, but for Mamdani. Because Donald Trump will meet with you and then call you names immediately when you leave if he dislikes the way you portrayed that meeting. Mm-hmm. That's not new. Everybody knows this about Trump. We're a decade into the Trump era here. Nothing's new about any of that stuff. But with Mamdani, he is brand new. What does this mean for him? Is this an indication, especially if he really was the one that wanted the meeting, is it an indication of the way he's going to govern New York? Now, he's not the governor of New York, so a lot of the stuff that he was pitching anyway is not going to be possible.
Right.
And you'd have to have Hochul, the governor of New York, get involved, and now she's facing tremendous pressure from Elise Stefanik as a real contender to beat her for governor. So is she willing to go with these far-left things in New York that he can't do without her? I don't know. So it's a big question of what can he get done and what will he seek to push? Will he push, there's different routes, right? Could he push socialism? Could he push Islam? Could he push some sort of middle ground? Like, could he be more of an Eric Adams type, still a Democrat, but more of a middle ground, like kind of work with people? I don't know. This kind of thing indicates to you that he is willing to at least talk and work with people and get things done. And usually a slick personality like him, they are kind of like that, where they'll kind of fit a mold, but once that mold changes or the pressure comes, they can kind of slither into something else. Is he that guy? And maybe that is who he is, and you know comes along is going to push him into one of those categories. I don't know, but we'll see. Here's Bill Maher, though, talking about if he goes the socialist route, which is really the main thing that he ran on, the sort of populist socialism. What does that turn into?
Here's capitalist South Korea at night from space. Here's socialist North Korea. Yeah. In 1990, Venezuela was wealthier than Poland. But then Poland, finally free of Soviet-style economics, went all in on capitalism. And now their economy is as big as Japan. And people there have high wages, low inflation, cars, vacations, homes. Meanwhile, Venezuela traded capitalism for Hugo Chavez's socialism for the 21st century, which turned out to be like socialism in the last century or any century, a mess. It turned one of Latin America's richest countries into one of its poorest. Low wages, high inflation, shortages, outages, 8 million people fleeing. If you think New York can somehow reinvent this wheel, you're in for a rude awakening. Zoran can't make your wishes come true. You're thinking of Zoltar.
All right. We're in the place now where Bill Maher is defending capitalism because the Democrats have become socialists. At least the party drivers are socialists. So I'm so glad that he talked about this in this clip. And I said, Brad, we got to get that clip because I have been doing research on Venezuela in particular because that country fascinates me. It did turn from capitalist and prosperous and wealthy. It's not a huge nation, but it was wealthy and very well off until Hugo Chavez took over and then eventually Maduro took over. And they promised these kind of exact things. They said, we're going to take from the public coffers and we're going to spread the wealth around and we're going to fix society's ills. Now, at that time, they were doing pretty well. You know, it's kind of mirroring us except that we're way bigger. That, you know, things actually aren't that bad. There's bad parts and you want to fix those things. But ultimately, you still live in a prosperous nation. Your needs are mostly taken care of. But they'd say, well, we need total reform to fix those other things. And so they did. They went with total reform in Venezuela. And you want to know how that turned out? Well, I looked up the inflation numbers.
Oh, no.
This is what happens. Now, New York can't print money, so it's a little different.
Yeah.
But Venezuela could. And they went all in. It said in 2014, when Chavez took over, essentially, right then, the annual inflation rate jumped to 69%, the highest in the world, almost immediately, because they just started to print money.
Right.
And try to, make everybody's dreams come true. So you consider our inflation rate, the pain that we've been feeling, got up to about 11, maybe 12%, depending on how you analyze it, because they always change those things. But let's say it was 11% under Joe Biden for about 2.5 years. Then it started to drop, came down to about 8. Now it's about 3 under Trump. So the inflation rate in Venezuela reached 69%. Now, if you thought you could feel 11%, especially year over year, imagine 69%. Highest in the world. In 2015, the inflation rate reached 181%. And so what did they do? They decided, to get ourselves out of this crisis, we're going to print more money. Yes, I kid you not. That's their only solution. That's why we always say socialists don't have a solution other than just doing this stuff over and over.
You eventually run out of other people's money.
You're exactly right, Brad. It says then, right after this, the rate reached 800% inflation in 2016. Then in 2017, 4,000% inflation. And then in 2018, 1,700,000% inflation, reaching 2,000,000% inflation. Their money was basically valueless. And this is where you saw, if you remember at that time, you saw nations in that area, including Venezuela, jumping to Bitcoin, jumping to U.S. dollars. In fact, U.S. dollars, that's why they go so far, because people know it's fairly stable. It's big. And so they jump to things that aren't going to, you always compare it to the dollar. So their currency was almost valueless at that point. And the Venezuelan government then, at that rate, at that spot, 2018, they just stopped producing official inflation numbers. So we don't really know what they were after that. But inflation economists look at all these metrics and things, and they say that they think that they stabilized it at 5,220% in the next couple of years. And then there are the Bank of Venezuela officially estimates the inflation rate in that era where they're not official government numbers to have increased, though, to 53 million%. So there's different estimates there, obviously, big from inside the country and outside the country. But that was from 2016 to 2019. In April 2019, the International Monetary Fund estimated that inflation would reach 10 million% by the end of 2019.
Good grief.
That is just taking a gun, pointing it at your own foot and shooting it.
I don't think it's pointing it at your foot.
Pointing at your heart. It's a mess. It's socialism. And so we've seen, Bill Maher was just saying this, we've seen this experiment many, many times, many times, and it never works. The reason that the U.S. or little pockets of the U.S. can work is that there are other parts of the U.S. that aren't doing it. So they can kind of absorb it in the midst of this. And we'll get back to this more. I've got a lot on this topic because I've looked quite a bit into it. But in the meantime, we're going to take a short break and stay on schedule here. That's my job. I'm the host today, Ryan Wiggins, filling in for Annie Frey. Ryan Schmelz is coming up next on our Monday, here the Monday before Thanksgiving on 97.1 FM Talk.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands, or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Dad, that's what Grandpa Rip always said.
That's right. 50 years ago, Grandpa started Grasser, and whenever a customer called, he'd smile and say, "Hey, it's good to see you."
Hey, it's good to see you.
It was his way of treating people like neighbors, not numbers. That's why we still say it today.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Sponsored by Progressive. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at Progressive.com.
Family focused, faith filled, always on point. It's the Annie Frey Show.
Kristen, what I am confident of is that this was a display of gross negligence here, that there are 2.1 million service members, and you're probably going to say, oh, like off the rails representatives have gotten death threats. Well, what about the 2.1 million service members? They have put their lives at risk. There is one commander-in-chief, and when you step outside of the chain of command and try to create the noise and chaos, that only helps our enemies.
Well, that's one of the many things going on Capitol Hill. It's afternoon. We have Ryan Schmelz here from Fox News Radio, Capitol Hill, and White House correspondent. Ryan, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. So let's start with this story and just find out, if you could, maybe just a little bit of the background of what happened with Senator Kelly and Senator Slotkin and others calling for the military to refuse orders because it's Trump, something like that.
Right. So there was a video that was put out last week, including several former military as well as former intelligence officers who are now in Congress, Mark Kelly being one of them. And they essentially told members of the military that you do not have to follow through with unlawful orders, or is your duty to not follow unlawful orders. And, they didn't specify what those orders were, but of course that led to quite the backlash from Republican circles, especially the Trump administration, where President Trump put some pretty aggressive statements out there saying seditious conspiracy, saying words like traitors, and even, inferring punishable by death, which led to a lot of background. And of course, the White House had to put out or came out later that day and said that no, President Trump does not want to execute members of Congress. But now we are learning that apparently Mark Kelly, one of the officers one of the senators who was in that video, is now being investigated.
Yeah, and what I've read just this morning is that Senator Mark Kelly could be called, he's in reserve, so he could be called back to active duty and then could face punishment from the military. Does that sound right?
Possibly, yes. And Mark Kelly's the only one, I believe, in that group who's still, a member of the armed services. The other ones are considered to be, I think, retired. But he apparently is still active in the reserves.
Wow, this is a wild story. I did see the video and did think, well, that seems like they're pushing it. And now the question seems to revolve around what is an unlawful order? And, they did the rounds. I saw Slotkin on one of the weekend shows saying, well, we said unlawful orders, and they pressed her and said, well, what has Trump said that's unlawful? And it didn't seem like she could really answer that question.
Yeah, and I asked Jason Crow that question after he was pressed pretty extensively by Martha McCallum, and he pretty much said that in some ways he alluded that hasn't happened yet, but there's the idea that it could happen under the Trump administration. So in some ways that might answer the question, but in other ways, these members have not been exactly clear about what specific orders they want these members to not follow through with. But of course, some of this might have to do with which talk about with Venezuela, where the Trump administration has been using military force to destroy what they believe are cartel vessels. But there hasn't really been, I think, a big communication between Congress and the White House on this. And Congress has kind of been asking, or at least some Democrats have been asking, if what the legal authority is for the Trump administration to do this.
Ryan Schmelz, Fox News Radio Capitol Hill and White House correspondent. Switching gears a little bit to the House side from the Senate, Marjorie Taylor Greene is making news this weekend and saying that she is going to retire from Congress right after her pension kicks in, which is very nice for her. What does this do with the math for Republicans in the House? Is this a concern?
It certainly is a concern. Anytime Republicans lose a member, there is a little bit of anxiety that happens, especially when that seat needs to be filled by a special election and you've got time that you're kind of waiting all that out. So, when Sylvester Turner in Texas, his seat's supposed to be filled, that makes the majority even slimmer. And, keep in mind, when we're getting into a government funding fight starting in January, Republicans are going into this expecting Thomas Massie to not vote with them. So if Thomas Massie's not willing to vote with them, I mean, in some ways, they don't really even have much of a majority at all. So the math is going to be a huge problem for Republicans.
Is Massie just in his own camp now? I mean, we see the headlines about him, being a problem for the Republicans and their numbers, of course, just like we're talking about. But is he actually voting with Republicans a lot of other times that we just don't hear about?
Yeah, he is. I mean, look at some of the censure resolutions that were proposed last week. He voted with Republicans on them. There's been a couple other things that he's been pretty steadfast in voting with Republicans on. But when it comes to these spending battles, he's fought his party tooth and nail on them. And he's also, was one of the most vocal critics, he was the person leading the effort on the discharge petition on the Epstein files, and that in many ways ticked off party leadership. So, yeah, there certainly have been times that he has probably stood against the president and not really been, the biggest ally in that regard.
Ryan, getting into the drama here a little bit between Marjorie Taylor Greene and the president, the president doesn't seem like he really has a lot of problems with her. He speaks out against her when she does something he doesn't like, which he does with everybody. But it just surprised me that she was ready to retire based on this little feud, which didn't seem like a big deal to me.
Well, it ended up being a lot bigger feud when he was calling for a primary challenger to her, and it was probably going to be a pretty toxic primary heading into election season. So in many ways, that was at least what she cited as her major reason for deciding to get out, is that she did not want to put her district through a very toxic primary, which, all signs point to this was definitely a strong possibility. Now, people haven't ruled out what could be next for her, a potential run for governor of Georgia, a potential run for Senate in Georgia. Those are certainly things that are on the table right now.
Ryan, last topic before we run out of time here, but what else? This is a holiday week. We're going into the holiday season. What's happening on Capitol Hill? Everybody in session? I mean, what is the what's going on? They're out of session.
Right? They're out of session for now, yeah.
Okay.
But everything's James Comey's going to dominate the headlines for the rest of the day, and that'll be probably the big story today.
We kind of jumped in on this a little late. I was reading up on it. We haven't talked about it yet. Can you fill us in on that before we run?
Yes. So a judge ruled in that case that the U.S. attorney in this case was appointed against the Constitution and was not, somebody who should have been overseeing the case. So you have both the case against Letitia James as well as the case against James Comey, both dropped. Could there be something that could be brought up later? We'll see. But right now, this is a pretty big setback for the Trump DOJ.
Ryan, is there a known route for the Trump camp here? Are they going to appeal it, or is it no? We'll just refile it once we figured out what the complaint is against.
We have not.
The attorney?
We have not heard specifically what the Trump administration is going to try to do here. We're still trying to get some reaction.
Cool. Yeah, I know that was breaking right before we went on today. So thanks for updating us on that. Ryan Schmelz, Fox News Radio, Capitol Hill, and White House correspondent. Appreciate your time as usual.
Of course. Thank you, Ryan.
All right. Take care. Ryan Schmelz, our normal Monday guest at this time. We haven't really talked about that, and it was I was reading up on it, but I thought, shoot, we need to kind of talk about the Mamdani stuff. We haven't talked about the poll yet. We'll get to that in a minute. But just to update you from what I've seen about the Comey and Letitia James stuff is that a federal grand jury has already indicted Comey. So that's not really a question. It's that the judge over that case, and again, I'm reading this like as we're starting the show at noon, the judge in the case against Comey, at least, I think this is the same for Letitia James, said that the attorney who brought the case, whose name is, let me pull it up here, Lindsay Halligan, I believe. I lost it on my phone. I had it. Lindsay Halligan, she was appointed incorrectly. Some paperwork issue. So it's not the actual case against Comey.
Okay.
This is what you're going to hear right now is, the case fell apart. They didn't actually have a case against him or Letitia James. That's not true. They do have a case. It's that the judge found some sort of box that maybe they didn't check or whatever and determined that the attorney who brought the case, Lindsay Halligan, who's working for a district there for the Trump administration, I get lost in that stuff, was not legally allowed to bring that case, or she was not appointed properly or something like that. So in my reading, that means that these cases will be brought back very swiftly, either by appeal. A lot of people are saying, well, they'll just appeal it anyway. It didn't matter. This is the way things go. Or they will check that box, have a different attorney bring the exact same case, something like that. So when you see the headline, just know this is all kind of procedural stuff, and it's all part of the chess of playing these things out. Apparently, this judge was very much in the bag for Comey and Letitia James, the Democrat-appointed judge, and so he found something to say, we're going to kick this can down a little bit, and it's all part of the process. Yeah. So even though that's a big headline, when I was reading up on it, I thought, this will be just sort of like another chapter in the book of prosecuting these public figures. We're going to take a short break here and come back and talk about that poll, which I haven't mentioned yet. Will the Epstein files boomerang on Democrats? Number of options here for you to choose from. Yes, it will. No, or it already has. Stick around. We'll be right back. It's the Annie Frey Show.
Matt Hayes and Home Shield Foundation Repair are waiting for your phone call at 314-227-9636. 314-227-9636. Those basement leakage problems, there's nothing like the word leakage. Just say leakage in your basement. That sounds bad, right? Well, get rid of your leakage problem with Matt Hayes. He's there to help. He's the basement foundation repair guy. He's the guy who can waterproof your basement finally once and for all. And all you got to do is call him and tell him to come look at your leakage in your basement. 314-227-9636. Call 314-227-9636 and he can come assess the problem. And that's one of the things I appreciate about Matt Hayes is that he is going to need to see your basement before he sells you something. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? What's your problem? What are your concerns? What are your fixes that are needed? He'll come, he'll assess it, he'll tell you what he can do for you, and then you can determine for yourself if you're ready to hire him. 314-227-9636, the number to call, HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
Hey, St. Louis, how would you like to see if you, your family, or employees qualify for a health insurance plan that is open enrollment year-round? Bill Pauly and his team at the Pauly Agency put the sure in insurance. Call to set an appointment at 636-222-2149. That's 636-222-2149.
Is your home ready for the holidays? Call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 and take $75 off air duct cleaning. Book online anytime at ZeroResSTL.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Will the Epstein files boomerang on Democrats? That is today's YouTube live chat poll. We got 3 options here for you. Yes, it will. No. Or it already has. Jump on Andy's YouTube page, vote in that poll, leave us a comment telling us why you voted the way you voted, and we might read that comment on air. The time is 12:35, and this time check is brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
25 years strong. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Well, that little liner right there just said it. It was a nice intro to a birthday card that I got. Actually, it was to the station, and our front desk girl brought it to me and said, well, should I give this to you or to everybody at the station? I said, you could just give it to me. I'll open it, and then I'll give it to everybody if it needs to be. But it's a birthday card.
Give it to everybody if they need it.
If they need it. I'm going to be the filter. The birthday card, and I open it, and it says, want to wish you all continued success and express my appreciation for all you do. You've been there daily through several chapters of my life, especially during all the mundane hours of being stuck in traffic. You are still there daily for me as I drive for a living, and I almost feel like you're family and friends to me. My wife finally started listening to you guys driving during her commute. This is from Dave and Katrina to all of the 97.1 team, and it is a happy birthday card, and it is in light of, I'm sure, our birthday, 25 years old, as of last month. So if you weren't able to come out to the party, we talked about it a lot. You probably heard us talking about it.
It's a good time.
It was a good time, and we appreciate, even if you weren't Dave and Katrina, couldn't make it, they sent us a nice little handwritten card there, and I wanted to read that to you and say thank you to Dave and Katrina for listening for so long, and Katrina for listening apparently for not very long and jumping on board.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome. This is the Annie Frey Show. Annie's not here. It's a great day to be listening to the Annie Frey Show. So the YouTube live chat poll, we teased this coming into the segment. Will the Epstein files boomerang on Democrats? This is in light of all of the news coming out this weekend of I wish I could remember the lady's name. I hadn't heard of her until this news came, that she was being fed questions during the hearing.
Oh, yeah.
By Epstein.
Yeah, she's the Virgin Islands ambassador, kind of the equivalent of the U.S. Virgin Islands representative, but they can't have a representative.
They don't vote,
right?
But they're there.
And she's on committees.
Yeah, she's Democrat.
Yep.
And she
Klesick.
All these things are coming out about the money that was coming from Epstein to a bunch of these Democrats. And it's like, this was in the files that you kept saying that you wanted to come out. And now it's coming out and they're just backpedaling. There was some stuff with Hakeem Jeffries this weekend that he looked terrible in some interviews.
Her name is Stacey Plaskett.
Stacey Plaskett.
And, yeah, her title is Delegate to the United States House of Representatives. I remember watching a video of that hearing that she was texting him with, and you can watch her.
Oh, yeah. You can see it.
Yeah.
They've pulled it up. They've got the archives, and you can see it happening. So she's just feeding questions back to Jeffrey Epstein from Jeffrey Epstein, and that's in these emails and these quote-unquote files that have come out that really have said nothing new about Donald Trump at all. And, of course, they don't. Because we knew that this wasn't really going to go anywhere, but there is some campaign money going on. And I pulled up this clip from James Comer talking about it this weekend.
So let's read it to make sure. To Jeffrey Epstein, and that's the real Jeffrey Epstein, not Jasmine Crockett's Jeffrey Epstein. This is the real Jeffrey Epstein.
I'm going to pause it right there to explain that if you haven't heard that story. There's another guy named Jeffrey Epstein.
Dr. Jeffrey Epstein.
Who had made political donations. And so Jasmine Crockett went out all weekend and talking about these people, these Republicans got donations from Jeffrey Epstein. But it was the other guy.
She did it from the House floor.
And then Hannity had that guy on.
Hannity found him?
He had that Jeffrey Epstein on, and he's just some dude. And I think the question that I thought was the funniest was, has this ruined your life as being named Jeffrey Epstein and having had made campaign contributions? And he goes, not really, but it's been very annoying. Anyway, here's the clip.
From Hakeem Jeffries' campaign. Dear Jeffrey, we are thrilled that we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, one of the rising stars of the New York delegation, sometimes referred to as Brooklyn's Barack. Hakeem is committed to electing a Democrat majority in 2014 and is encouraging his friends to participate in a DCCC fundraising dinner with President Obama and Hakeem Jeffries. It ends with a number for Jeffrey Epstein to call to go to the dinner and, quote, get an opportunity to get to know Hakeem better. Here's the evidence. The email speaks for itself. The only stone-cold liar in this debate is Hakeem Jeffries. So, Mr. Minority Leader, take a deep breath, chill out, stop lying, stop with the juvenile name-calling, and own up to the fact that your campaign solicited campaign cash from Jeffrey Epstein.
And this is, by the way, after he was a known criminal. So this isn't all before that. You know, a lot of the Trump stuff was way before any of this stuff. But what it comes out is that it's not illegal. Nothing Hakeem Jeffries was doing was illegal concerning Jeffrey Epstein. So you're not talking about him going to the island, anything like that. You're just talking about the money and the big money game that was, everybody was involved in this. And that looks like what Trump was doing too. And maybe they were closer friends than just the money. But again, this was before it was known that he was a criminal when Trump was involved. After he was a known criminal, then they were still talking to him to get his money. You're like, who's really grosser here? I don't know. I mean, none of it's good.
They're like, it all spins the same.
But I mean, and they all knew it. And it's all just one big game. And Brad, you were saying before we even started the show, we're not going to find anything here.
I'm irritated by this whole conversation because Democrats have grabbed this and they thought, oh, here's something that we can get Trump with. And so they've taken what is something that a lot of people are legitimately concerned about and really want to know the truth about. And they've totally politicized it. I mean, I'm even looking at our chat right now and the lefties in our chat are going crazy like, why won't they release them? 30 days from the signing, they've got to make sure that they don't compromise any ongoing investigations. Those files are coming out. But my thing is this, it won't matter because we don't know how many files there were in the beginning. So if it releases and everybody who everybody else thinks is guilty in here and implicated by these, if they're all like cleared by it, it won't be enough because it's been so politicized that people look at it and we're like, well, we don't know how many files there were, and they probably didn't release them all because why would you release the files that implicate you? They've already made up their minds, so people have already ran to their corners. They've already made up their minds. We don't know how many files there were. The files have been under several different organizations and administrations, so anything in there is like, maybe it's honest, maybe it's not. There's probably not a black book with a name of people who and what they did. There's none of that. None of that's going to be here. We're not going to get to the bottom of this, and it frustrates the heck out of me.
Because they're all involved.
Yes.
They've all Jeffrey Epstein and the money and his world had his tentacles around everybody. So even if you didn't know and you weren't really involved, but you were like, yeah, sure, I'll take some money, you're still involved. And you still look bad even if you weren't doing anything like Hakeem Jeffries. You look bad for wanting to take that money. And so what are we as the public going to see? Nothing. We're never going to see anything because Jeffrey Epstein was smart enough to involve as many people as possible, give money to probably both sides, and therefore nobody wants the full truth of this stuff to come out because even if they weren't doing anything criminal, it does make them look bad. So we're not going to see anything major, especially criminal.
But I mean, is there even really going to be anything major left to release?
Well, that's my point, is that there just is. It's been sifted so many times by so many Justice Department officials and different administrations at this point that whatever it was has to almost the quote unquote files have to be almost completely scrapped at this point, and you have to start over with a new investigation.
Well, and here's the thing too. What day was it that they voted on this? The victims were on the steps of the Capitol building saying we need to release these files.
This was like a month or two ago,
No.
right?
This was when they voted on it. And so whenever I was pulling audio
Just
for this,
recently.
Yeah, when I was trying to find some audio clips of that because they were doing it the morning of the show that we were having. And so when I was pulling audio clips from that, I came across some audio clips from back in like September, late August, something like that, when the files first started coming out and all this stuff started coming out. And these victims were saying, we're not going to wait. We're going to compile our own list of names and release them. Okay.
Where's the list?
Where's the list?
Where that's what it takes. That's what it's going to take is somebody who comes out and says, here, I've never testified on this before. Now I am. And here's the names. Here's what happened. And why isn't that happening?
And there was one person that was doing that, and she ended up taking her own life, unfortunately. But she was
that
out
was
there.
Virginia Giuffre, right?
Yeah.
Or Giuffre.
Yeah.
She's the one in these documents, though. I'm talking about people outside of these documents who haven't testified yet. And a lot of them have taken payments.
We want justice for you.
Yeah.
We want justice for you. We're not against you. We want justice for you. We're frustrated that this has been so politicized, so terribly politicized. Help us help you.
And one last point on this, and then we'll stop, is what happened to all the tapes that people have talked about for so long? The AG, Pam Bondi, came out right after getting the position and said, yeah, we're going to release all the tapes. What tapes? Because what we've heard is that there are tapes of Jeffrey Epstein's house. He had cameras everywhere, and he would record all these illicit acts and then hold them as blackmail over people. My assumption, and everybody's assumption, was she was talking about those tapes. Well, at this point, we don't even know what tapes they were, and why have those not been released? And nobody talks about them. And then she came and backtracked and said, well, actually, we don't really have those. We just assumed that we did. Once I looked into it, we didn't have the tapes. It's a mess. Mm-hmm. And I'm not letting these people off the hook just because they're on the right side. They're on the Trump side. They've done a bad job.
Oh, it's bad.
It's not good. And so now we're left with this mucky, miry mess that nobody really can trust anything, and it's a problem. But Democrats have made it a political issue on purpose because they thought it would benefit them, and that's what we're asking you about today in the poll. Will Epstein files Boomerang on specifically Democrats right now? Let us know what you think. We got Wiggins America coming up next, led by Ethan, so stick around. We'll be right back.
Haven't changed, had much to say, but man, I still think them cats are crazy. They were asking if you were around.
Visit 971talk.com/events and enjoy Trans-Siberian Orchestra, a Christmas tradition at Enterprise Center December 23rd. A portion of the proceeds benefits Siteman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. Visit 971talk.com.
So at Air Comfort Service, they understand that you might need to have your heating system checked. Maybe it's been a minute. We don't need to talk about how long it's been. Just the fact that you probably need to get it done right away. 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. It's time to schedule your heating system check so you can heat your home safely. This is a big deal. They have the best way to keep not only your heating system, but your entire HVAC system in peak shape all year long with their preferred partner plan. Lack of maintenance is a main cause of breakdowns. It causes you to have to replace your HVAC system prematurely. Nobody wants that. Look into their preferred partner plan. Regularly scheduled heating and cooling system checks twice a year, discounts on diagnostic calls and repairs, and a discount on new equipment. Plus, you're going to get priority service. If you're interested in becoming a preferred partner and making sure that you are ahead of a broken down furnace system, 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Hanson's Tree Service honors local veterans through Operation SOS, serving our soldiers. It's a once-a-year program that provides free professional tree care to a few deserving veterans or military families. If you know a veteran or military family who could use a helping hand, nominate your hero today at hansontree.com.
It's time for you to get to know my friends at Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield, where luxury meets comfort. Marc Cox here. They have a great selection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, craft cocktails, anything you like to drink, cold beer, premium hand-rolled cigars from the finest makers in the world, even private lockers that are available if you choose to. Perfect for date nights or business meetings, and live music every Friday night. Family owned and operated. Check them out in Chesterfield at the District. It's litstl.com.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Wiggins. Oh, Wiggins.
Not Wiggins America, Ethan's America. Ethan's America.
I hate that. Every time I
know you
listen
do.
to it makes me so mad.
It doesn't hold back.
No, it doesn't.
It's pretty clear in its message that
It
we
is
are
quite
all
clear.
disappointed in you.
Having Kevin Sorbo yell disappointed about you is-
In a remix. Let me ask
That's
you a
who
quick,
that is?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
Kevin Sorbo.
I did not know that.
That's Kevin Sorbo as Hercules.
Oh, I never connected that. That's funny. Okay.
What's the original clip?
It's
Is
the
it him
meme.
just yelling
I think-
disappointed?
I think he's like evil Hercules because I think he has a goatee in that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
he just looks up and he yells at this guy, disappointed! And it became a meme.
Uh-huh. And then a song.
Yeah. then Ryan remixed it.
So today it's actually the Monday Roundup for people that don't know, because anytime that Ethan hosts, we have to make it clear that we're disappointed that he just sucks, I guess. I don't know. But this is actually Wiggins America, I guess Ethan's America, the Monday Roundup. And Ryan, I think the last time that, we talked about this theme for Ethan's America, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was you in the host seat or if you were gone and I was filling in for you. But we talked about after the release of the first Wicked movie, or I guess it was around that time, that the press tour was going on, and Ariana Grande and Cynthia, how do you say,
Erivo.
Cynthia Erivo, how weird those two were interacting with each other during those interviews. Do you ever remember seeing videos of those
It
two?
was unnatural. It was strange. It was like they were doing characters in interviews, but it was like they were doing their stage characters. I couldn't figure it out because it was bizarre. It was just
Yeah, it's
very
creepy.
strange.
Super weird. And,
Codependent.
well, the second Wicked has come out. What's called Wicked for Good, I think is what
I
it's
think is
called.
what it's
Which,
like.
first of all, very quick between the two movies. I don't know. I
Well,
guess
they
we're
filmed
just
them at the same time.
Oh,
So the way they're split
that.
is the first act of the
Okay.
play and the second act of the play.
That makes sense. Well, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of refreshing, to be honest, because I think we've gotten so used to movies being, okay, well, you're going to have to wait another 4 years until the second one comes out. I mean, Stranger Things, I know it's not a movie, but it's,
comes out Wednesday.
Comes out Wednesday. And how long has it been since the last season? 4 years?
I don't know the answer to that, but I did look up why it's taken so long for the new one to come out. And it's because apparently there's going to be, I think, 6 or 8 episodes. I don't remember which.
It's 8 episodes.
But each one of them is like a full feature-length film.
Correct.
So
they average around 2 hours long, each of them.
Yeah, that's a ton of content.
So I think the first 6 episodes come out on Wednesday, and then
2 more. That's right.
Yes, I think there's one on Christmas Eve that comes out, and then there's one on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So talk about finishing with a bang. Anyway, back to Wicked. So I have the last time that the movie came out, we played a couple of these videos for you guys just to kind of point out just how weird these two are, and we're going to do it again here. So here is Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande just being Hollywood weird.
Not the time, helicopter!
So right now, Cynthia Erivo's getting upset, and Ariana Grande is looking at the sky because there is a helicopter going over her, and she is thank you. And she is telling the helicopter to go away, saying, "It's not the time, helicopter."
Because it looks like this is a weird clip because the audio doesn't make any sense. But it looks like Cynthia, with her super long crone hands, is covering her face because she's having an emotional moment, and the helicopter is disrupting her emotional moment.
Correct.
And therefore, Ariana Grande is getting mad because we were having a real connection
Not the time,
here.
helicopter.
And that's the stuff that I see, and I go, why would I watch this movie? Maybe the movie's completely different, but these two are weird.
This one, the audio is a little bit better, but it's these two. I mean, straight up having a moment in the middle of a press tour interview.
It's been a pleasure spending time with you. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, and I hope you will be there for the rest of my life. I hope you'll let my French be one of the things that you're learning how to let in. Forever I'm here. It's been a pleasure spending time.
Cynthia is literally wiping her tears away.
Wiping her tears.
From Ariana Grande's face, not her own tears.
This is what they have done on practically every single interview that they've done. They kind of just look deep into their eyes, and they have these random moments that kind of just leave you as you're watching like, I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to react to this.
It's so bizarre.
It makes me uncomfortable just watching it. I can't imagine. Mark Reardon used to do these interviews out in Hollywood where he would interview these stars.
Yeah, called junkets.
Can you imagine being the interviewer while these two are just having these deep, intimate moments, staring into each other? I mean, oh boy, I would be so uncomfortable having to do one of these.
I would love to do one of those. Are you kidding me?
Well, you would have fun with it, but you were born for moments like those. Normal people are not.
You know, I would just feed into it. I'd put my hand to my chest and start to cry. Oh my gosh. Oh, you guys are in love.
Guys, quiet. They're having a moment.
You just have to say something about the non-binary people. Oh, the non-binary people. This impacted them so much.
I shouldn't say
that means so much to me.
I shouldn't have said you guys.
Here's one
persons.
Here is one more where Irvio is fixing Ariana Grande's
Even through this
necklace
press
in the
tour,
middle.
something's
of this.
bothering her. She's gonna fix something.
I'm so
I know.
sorry.
She's getting the fixing itch that Cynthia Erivo gets.
It's not there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because the thing is...
Biggest pinch me moment for each of you on the set? Was it the day you arrived on the set, or some special moment that happened during the filming of this for each of you? What was
For those that are listening during this entire clip, Irvio is fixing Grande's
Fixing, like
necklace.
holding her by the neck, which looks a little weird.
Yeah.
And real quick before we get to the end of this segment here, the weird thing is you'll see stars of movies do this a lot, where they'll act like they're maybe a little bit in love while the movie comes out, and then the minute the press stuff is over, they just are not. You know, like they're not. And so they touch each other, and they're kind of flirting, and it makes people pay attention to it, and the movie gets attention. These two are not even attempting to pretend to be in a relationship, a lesbian relationship. They're just doing that stuff oddly.
Yep.
So it's just weird to watch.
Hollywood, man.
We'll be right back.
Setting goals for your retirement is one thing, but knowing how to achieve those goals is another.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
For tips on building a better nest egg, listen to the All Financial Hour with Steve All, Saturday mornings at 6, here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
Scott, can you believe it's already been more than a decade since the Queen of Carpet sold flooring to St. Louis area contractors?
I know, but I don't have to be a king to offer contractors today's lowest prices.
Yes, contractors owe it to their customers and themselves to shop at Best Buy Flooring for the largest in-stock selection of carpet, carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile.
Plus 3 convenient locations, North County, South County, and Metro East.
Open 7 days a week. Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy. Best Buy Flooring.
Doesn't it feel like you hear all the time from retired friends and family, I wish someone had told me this before I retired? Or why didn't anybody tell me this? Why is this not a class? Well, that's exactly why Financial and Tax Architects was founded. FTA keeps hardworking families in St. Louis make sense of retirement. They show them how to keep more of what they've earned and how to make it last. That way you can get some sleep at night. You don't have to second guess every expense leading up to retirement. You understand what's going on. Their Retirement Planning 101 class is a practical, no-cost course. They teach it at local colleges. It's just one night. You learn strategies to reduce taxes, plan your income, make confident decisions about Social Security and taxes and inflation. And FTA focuses on education. They try to change the way you retire. Call 888-5101 or go to fta-ria.com to register.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
High-profile cases are dismissed, at least for now. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The criminal cases against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James tossed out by a federal judge over a challenge to the interim U.S. attorney who brought the charges to grand juries.
Comey was indicted back in September, accused of lying to Congress. The charge had that statute of limitations, meaning there was only a small window left for this case to be brought, and Comey had pled not guilty. His legal team had claimed the DOJ had made a number of mistakes, including that the person bringing the case, Lindsay Halligan, should not have had the job. A federal judge agreeing today, writing that Halligan, the interim U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, had secured this indictment unlawfully because she was unlawfully serving in this role. She was also facing questions about what materials the grand jury saw and whether a final indictment had actually been presented appropriately for a vote.
Fox's Mark Meredith in Washington. James, the New York AG, has denied the mortgage fraud case against her, calling it political. Today's dismissals are without prejudice, meaning the charges can be brought again. The Pentagon launches a probe of a former U.S. Navy captain and current Arizona senator.
The Department of War says in a statement they've received allegations of misconduct against Senator Mark Kelly, and they're determining whether to call him back to active duty for a court-martial. They don't reference the video he recently appeared in their statement, in which he says,
"Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders."
But the Pentagon says even retirees are prohibited from actions that interfere with the loyalty, morale, or good order and discipline of the armed forces.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. President Trump has called the video seditious. Kelly just posting if the probe is meant to intimidate members of Congress from holding the administration accountable, it won't work. President Trump just posting he's accepted an invitation from China's President Xi to visit Beijing in April, and that Xi is invited for a state visit to the U.S. later next year. America is listening to Fox News.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. You'll find exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 50% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Gloomy weather in play as we go through our Monday afternoon. Periods of rain developing, especially late today. 57 for the high. Tonight, periods of rain through midnight. 49 for the overnight low. Tuesday, partly sunny. Warmest day of the week. 63 degrees. Cold front comes through. Tuesday night, partly cloudy, windy, and cold. 37. Dry Wednesday and Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, in the 40s. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 56 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance and installation, and heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. AirComfortService.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Oh, yeah, here's the moment you have been waiting for.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom.
Annie's out. Ryan and Brad are in.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
This is the Mannie Frey Show.
You're a billionaire. You have a different address nowadays than you used to, but you used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job.
Trump met with New York Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani over the weekend, and they talked about many things, but apparently it all came back to affordability. Both of them, I guess, populists, you could say, and focused on the issues that the average voter is caring about, of course, going about it in very different ways.
I found in the meeting that I had with the president a productive one, and a meeting that came back again and again to the central themes of the campaign that we ran: the cost of housing, cost of childcare, the cost of groceries, the cost of utilities. And it showed that this is an opportunity to now start to deliver so that people can do more than just aspire to struggle in New York City, but actually to be able to live there.
The thing about socialism is if you're the first one through the door, you actually can get a little bit of credit for it because it can last a year or two, depending on how big your economy is and, what you're doing with your socialism. But if you're the first one in, you can actually get elected on it because it sounds so nice. But it's when it starts to show its foundations that it becomes a big problem. So, of course, Mamdani and Trump coming at affordability from very, very different angles. Mamdani wants to do it by basically limiting the amount of money people can make, which is semi-communism. Taxing the rich, of course, and the rich become less and less rich.
Federalizing, or not federalizing, but having government take over housing.
Yeah, taking over the means of production from the old socialist playbook there, and capping really the amount of money that people can make, which stifles capitalism, which stifles growth, which makes money leave, and everything starts to fall apart. It's just a city, though. It's a major city. It's like the world's major city as far as finance goes. So that does matter. But can a city do this by itself? Not really. They can't print money like we were talking about with Venezuela. But is affordability the main issue for Americans? Yeah, I think it is. And I think the administration has been focused on that, but they haven't been messaging on that like they are now.
In March of 2024, I wrote a piece and I talked about the 3 I's that were killing Americans: immigration, interest rates, and inflation. President's closed the border, and the mass immigration is gone. And that was a lot of the immigration was putting upward pressure on housing, downward pressure on wages. Interest rates are down, and now we are starting to see the affordability. The prices get better.
So he's going to cite a lot of numbers there. That's Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary. He's going to cite a lot of numbers, but it's all based on what you feel. Mm-hmm. Can you feel the affordability? Can you feel that prices are getting more in your favor, or are they not? Because right now, the wage growth is barely outpacing inflation.
Yeah.
Which is good. You want it to always be outpacing inflation. But it really, based on what we've experienced for 4 years under Biden, you need wage growth to explode and inflation to basically stop.
I saw some numbers that under Biden, real wage growth shrank by $3,000 a month. So it was
$3,000 a month,
$3,000 a month on average.
And based on your purchasing power, basically.
Yeah. And then under Trump, that has grown by $1,200 a month. So it's increased. But that's still not halfway back to where it was prior to Biden's destruction of that economy.
And the thing is, if that continues for another year or two or four, then you will look back and go, oh, he did fix it. Oh, these are good things. Yeah. I brought this in today, not knowing whether we talk about it, but here we are talking about this subject, so we're going to dive in. I saved this from when the big, beautiful bill was passed because I knew that we'd come back to this later, whether it be now during the budget negotiations, because they still haven't quite figured I mean, we're still going to be doing this in January.
January 30th is the deadline.
Unless they figure it out before that. But this is what the big, beautiful bill entailed. And a lot of this you really won't feel until next year. Annie said this before, sitting in the same spot, that looking ahead to her tax return, and I've looked at a little bit too, actually, based on what she was saying.
Her tax return?
I mean, she said this. Not her. Yeah. I wasn't looking at hers. I was looking at my own.
I did this too.
Yeah. But looking ahead, I'm going, oh, actually, like a lot of this stuff is kicking in right now, but you'll notice it once you start to actually get your returns. And especially if you're a business owner, a lot of these things are going to hit you.
A lot of them are retroactive back to January of 2025.
Right.
So it'll be for the whole year.
Yeah, and Democrats are trying to negotiate not any one particular thing in here away, but they don't want to fund the big, beautiful bill. They're basically like, yeah, we'll fund your big, beautiful bill, but you have to fund our stuff. Well, a lot of what the big, beautiful bill did was cut that stuff.
Defund that stuff.
So it's not really a real negotiation, because one of those things is that it well, we'll just start from the top here. It says it permanently extends lower income tax rates. The 2017 Tax Cuts and Job Act, which was a Trump thing too, a Republican thing, reduced income tax brackets were set to expire in 2025. This bill makes them permanent. So not just extending it, but making it permanent. You're keeping more of your at-home pay or take-home pay, which, again, that's all coming out pretty much in the next year and in this tax return. Number two is it expands the standard deduction. I don't know if you do a standard deduction. A lot of people do. I do some real estate and other things on the side, so the standard deduction doesn't make sense for me because we have too many different hands in different pots. But if you do standard deduction, which a lot of people do, that has doubled and extended, temporarily boosted by $1,500 for singles and $1,000 for heads of household, which would be if you're married or living under the same roof with a head of household. That would be $2,000 for you. Reducing taxable income and simplifying filing for millions. I don't know what the actual standard deduction is right now. I just know that it was added to by $1,000 per person, or $1,500 if you're single. It increases the child tax credit. Remember this being a campaign issue? Mm-hmm. They followed through. The bill raises the child tax credit to $2,500 per child through 2028. That's not quite as much as they were hoping for. J.D. Vance was yelling, "We need 4,000."
Yeah.
They got it to 2,500.
Well, and that's one of those things where you can't argue that this is just a tax cut for the billionaires and trillionaires and whatever. This is that's real people, real families.
Right, exactly. So per child, $2,500 per child will be tax credited to you. That's pretty big. Makes overtime pay tax-free. So this already is in effect. Workers who earn overtime can deduct that income from their taxable earnings, recognizing and rewarding hard work, especially for blue-collar and hourly workers. And, of course, piggybacking on that, number 5, makes tipped income tax-free, We already know these.
Yeah.
We kind of forget to talk about them.
And both of those are retroactive back to January.
So service workers in customary tipping occupations can deduct their tips from taxable income. This helps waiters, bartenders, hairdressers, and other gig hospitality workers keep more of what they earn. I was just on a trip, and I thought about this every single time I tip my Uber driver, because I used to be an Uber driver, and that was all taxable income when I used to be taxed or be tipped. But now it's not, and it just feels better. I know it's like a couple bucks, but it's always like, oh, but the government's going to put their hand in it. But they're not.
It's the whole couple bucks now. It's everything that you were tipped.
Yeah, and the more we can scale back the government, I'm just taking a little bit, the better. It expands the savers credit for ABLE accounts. What does that mean? Well, the middle class families supporting disabled dependents can now claim the retirement savers credit for contributions to ABLE accounts, making it easier for them to plan for long-term care. If you are caring for a disabled member of your family, this will help you a lot. It is the savers credit for you.
Okay.
It enhances deductions for seniors. Seniors 65 plus get an extra $4,000 deduction through 2028, phasing out at higher incomes. It eases the tax burden for retirees living on fixed incomes or smaller incomes. It protects education support, keeps student loan forgiveness for death and disability tax-free, ensuring families aren't burdened with IRS bills during tragedy. And the last couple here is it expands earned income eligibility by recognizing new forms of income like certain religious community earnings, previously excluded tip income. More working families can qualify for refundable credits. Last one, encourages work, not welfare. And this really, there's a lot to this one.
Yeah.
But the quick and dirty of it is that the bill's framework rewards active earners and small business owners while simplifying tax compliance, which is a big issue. Filing your taxes is annoying and horrible.
Yes.
And if you do it wrong, the government comes after you for you doing it.
Yeah, especially if you own a small business. My parents own a small business. And I remember growing up even, when tax time would roll around, it was always a huge stressor for my mom and dad because they would have to go find an accountant and they would have to go through all these different paperwork. They'd have all these different receipts that they'd have to present and all this other stuff because, expenses are deductible and some things are not and all this other stuff. And it's just so incredibly complicated.
The bill's framework supports work through deductions and credits. It reduces dependency and promotes upward mobility. And this is being played out in a lot of ways. So that's kind of a general theme that plays out in many, many different areas throughout the administration. I'm sure you heard Brooke Rollins, the Secretary of Agriculture, recently saying that they are going to start screening for SNAP benefits nationwide. And I think they have to do this with the cooperation of states, but there are things that the federal government can do in general, like say, well, you have to be doing XYZ to get these benefits because the money comes from them. Wherever the money's coming from, they have ultimately the power, and they're doing that. And Brad, was it on air or off air that we discussed the amount of money that's taken out of the economy by somebody not working? Was that off air?
I think it was off air.
You and I were in my office, but I thought, well, maybe we talked about it on air too. So I do a lot of numbers. I don't know why I do. I'm a usually creative guy, but I love numbers and looking into these kinds of things. And I'm saying this from the top of my head here, so don't quote me exactly, but it was real close to this. That for every 10,000, or is it one? No, I think it's every 10,000 people who are on SNAP or welfare who are taken out of the economy. Basically, if you have a person who becomes a taker rather than a giver, they're not producing anything for the economy, but they are taking from the economy. Now, inevitably, you will have a category of people that this is going to happen for who are literally so disabled or mentally challenged that there's very little that they can do. And that is the reason these programs exist, is for those people. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the ones that came to mind when I said that, which is the people who can work and who are choosing to not work. Or they do have a disability, but it could be construed as something that you could still work, you just can't do this type of work.
Right.
But for whatever reason, they've said that, and they've taken that category of people who either choose not to work entirely, because you don't even have to prove anything for a lot of these programs. You just say, I'm not working.
I don't have a job.
Okay, well, here's money. You know, I make X amount of dollars per year. Okay, here's a bunch of free grocery money. Like, you don't have to prove anything. But even in the programs that you do, if you prove that you can't do a certain type of work, they just say, okay, well, then you don't have to work at all in a lot of them. So you take all that group of people, and you say, and do this per state. I mean, think about it per state, not the federal government, but by your state. Maybe it's a small state. Maybe we're talking about Missouri here. Every 10,000 people who are in that category of I'm not producing anything to the economy, I am only receiving from the economy, your state loses around $1 billion in money generated
for every
10,000.
10,000.
And and if you look at the numbers, there's definitely 10,000, and there's many, many more than that in every state who are on these programs. So $1 billion, and it's rough numbers. So, you know, if you look this up, you'd be like, well, Ryan, it's not exactly. Maybe it's 12,000 people, roughly. You know, it depends on the type of work too. But there's a lot of research you could do here, and it's really amazing to not think about this in terms of how many dollars are going out from the federal government to them, but how much are you missing out on as an economy from them not doing anything for it.
Right.
That's never discussed. That angle is just not discussed in the SNAP welfare, you know, benefit program discussion. And I think it should be a big part of it. All right, let's take a short break, and we will be right back. Still lots to discuss with this topic. And of course, the news of the day, the poll of the day is about the Epstein files again. Sorry about that, but it just sort of keeps staying around by the Democrats doing. And that's what the poll is about. Will the Epstein files boomerang on Democrats? Because they keep kind of bringing it back in. And of course, the news of the day, which I mentioned there, is that the indictments, the cases against Comey and Letitia James have been dropped. We've mentioned that. We'll probably mention that again here to catch you up. If you haven't heard that, stick around. This is the Annie Frey Show.
Well, the holiday season is here, which means that the new year is upon us. And I want to talk to you about the Lutheran schools in the area. And I specifically want to talk to you about the Lutheran Elementary School Association, LISA, if you will, with an E. If you go to lisastl.org, you can learn about the 34 elementary schools that are in the Lutheran system here, the Lutheran Church Missouri system, Synod system here in the bi-state area. And there's a Lutheran school out there for your child or for your grandchild. There's also tuition assistance that's available. We're very proud to partner with LISA to have established an Annie Frey Show scholarship for Lutheran schools. There are lots of opportunities out there to make it accessible and affordable for you. They have special education in most of their schools. They support IEPs and special needs. But what you are looking for is a unique private Christian schooling in an environment that you can trust to hand your children over and know that they're going to come back enriched at the end of the day. If you want to learn more about a Lutheran school near you, visit them online at lisastl.org.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Lights flickering?
Grasser can fix it.
Breaker keeps tripping?
That's a Grasser job.
Outlet not working?
Grasser makes it right.
Old wiring need a rewire?
Grasser rewires with care.
From little fixes to major fixes.
Even the tricky ones.
We treat your home like our own.
Treat? Did you say treat?
Woof. Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
What if you had a plan to build income outside your job? At Lifestyles Unlimited, you'll learn how people are investing in real estate to grow their income. and make smarter financial choices one property at a time. Right now, join us for just $297. That's a savings of $443 off our real estate education program. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Have you set your appointment up yet to have your furnace checked to make sure you are good and ready to go for this winter? It's really, really a great idea to have it done for your own peace of mind and for your safety also. Definitely check your furnace before you use it. You can go to my website. It's bartinman.com, and we'll have pictures up of what we've seen and what we've seen and found that the homeowners had no clue that this danger existed. Most have no idea what I'm talking about now, but if you went to the website, if you're not going to have me come out or another company come out and check, then you'll know what to look for on your furnace and hot water heater also. So my number, again, it's Bart Inman. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The easiest number, 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com, Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Sponsored by Progressive. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at Progressive.com.
Well, we talked about it a little bit earlier, and so we'll talk about it some more as the show goes on. But today's YouTube live chat poll is, will the Epstein files boomerang on Democrats? And we've got three possible answers here. The first answer is yes, it will. The second answer is simply no. And the third answer is it already has. Ryan played a little bit of audio from James Comer where he was pointing out that even House Minority Leader Jeffries sent out a message to Jeffrey Epstein soliciting campaign donations. So will this blow up? We don't know who's it going to boomerang on. We want to know what you think. So jump on Annie's YouTube page. That's youtube.com/@AnnieFry. Vote in the poll. Leave us a comment telling us why you voted the way you voted. We might read that comment on air. Joe said, poll, the Dems aren't really a group that worries about forethought. So whenever he's talking about this, he said they were just kind of basically saying, let's do it. We don't know what's going to happen. And then it's now so I think Joe's it's going to blow up on them. The time is 1:24. This time check is brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Range. It's the Annie Fry Show.
Hold up. Check it out. Sports and local.
News with Short John Silver.
I'm Short John Silver.
You.
Oh.
You.
That sounds like it was made by someone that's pretty insecure about their height.
It wasn't.
Funny story. I thought this isn't really a story. It's more so just where I thought that was going. Because over time, you've made so many of these that I just forget what they are.
I do too. They're all random now.
I really thought that one was just going to say news.
I did too.
You don't even remember what you made.
We'll go make that one next.
Oh, boy. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and start with our recap of what happened over the weekend in sports. It was a disappointing weekend for the Illinois Fighting Illini, who dropped their contest against Wisconsin 27-10 final. Illinois has been on the verge of being a top 25 team all season long. Last week they had re-entered the rankings as the 21st ranked team in the country, and then they laid an egg against the 3-7 Badgers. Like I said, 27-10 final. This upcoming weekend, rivalry weekend, and they will face off against Northwestern. And, you know what? I wonder if that is a home game for the Illini because, it is. Okay, so this is kind of cool. Northwestern's currently building a new stadium. Their first handful of games each year at home, they play in this very temporary small stadium, but it is quite literally like banking up to Lake Michigan. I don't know if you've seen pictures of it, but it looks super cool. And then for the bigger games at the end of the year, they play them at Wrigley Field. So they played Minnesota yesterday at Wrigley Field, or on Saturday, and they won. But, I mean, it looks pretty cool seeing football being played at Wrigley Field. Okay, all right. For the Mizzou Tigers, it was also a disappointing weekend for them
Another
as
egg?
well. Another egg. This one was kind of expected, but I think Mizzou fans have kind of just had this level of hope all year.
What's the quarterback situation, right?
Well, it's been messy. A couple of weeks ago against Vanderbilt, they thought that they had lost their starting quarterback for the rest of the year. Bo Pribula went down with an ankle injury. He made a miraculous return this week. I mean, nobody expected him to play, or very few people, I would say, expected him to play again this year. He played against Oklahoma. The problem is that, it would have been about probably the same result if they would have had the third-string quarterback in there because, I mean, it was just an absolute offensive disaster.
I do a ton of insider trading, and I found out that he was coming back this weekend, so I bet hard on Mizzou.
Big mistake because they lost to the 8th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners 17-6. And, Mizzou, the strength of their team by far is their ground game, their rushing abilities. They rushed for 0 yards in the second half of the game against the Sooners. So with the loss, Mizzou moves to 7-4. They were ranked 22nd in the country going into the game, and they will likely fall out of the rankings again following the loss. And there has been a bunch of noise the last several weeks about what does the future for Mizzou head coach Eli Drinkwitz look like? There has been a lot of rumors floating that he could be up for some of these bigger coaching positions that have opened up. LSU is open right now. Florida is open. Penn State is open. And, the betting boards, a lot of them have him as a top 5 favorite for some of those positions. Now, not the top option, but there is a legitimate chance that Eli Drinkwitz is not Mizzou's head coach next year, which would be a huge bummer for Mizzou because he has completely turned that program around.
I've said it before to you on this segment. That drives me insane.
Which part?
The part that a coach can sign a contract and then go, no thanks.
Oh, yes.
I'm done with that contract now.
Here's the most frustrating part about it. There has been so much commotion around all of this, and it's happening all in season. It's happening in season because
what does that do to your program?
It is so bad for a program. I mean, there are teams out there. The biggest one is Ole Miss right now. Lane Kiffin, there's talks that he's going to leave. They said that he is going to announce his decision following their game this weekend. They play on Friday, so it'll be announced Saturday. Ole Miss is going to the college football playoff, and that hasn't been the storyline. It has been, is their head coach going to stay in a year where they are ranked 6th in the country? And the reason that coaches have to leave at this time is because of when the transfer portals open up. It's so important to college football that coaches have to be able to get to their new teams before those portals open up so that they can have the guys that they want going into next year. So the windows for all of this is so screwed up that it is forcing coaching changes to occur during the season. It is so bad for the game, and it has to get fixed. There's so many good things happening in college football right now. This is not good.
Here's how you fix it. Here's how you fix it. You have one school that signs somebody to a 12-year contract, and they go, no, we're going to hold you to it. That's it. And then a bunch of other schools would start going, yeah, we're going to do the same thing. That's what would do it there.
I think the other thing you need to do is tighten up the transfer portal. You can't, coaches will leave and then they'll want to drag players that they like from the current organization over to the new organization that they're going to. And I think if you close that down, you say, nope, if you go over there, you have to start from scratch again. That'll make coaches less likely to want to jump ship.
Ethan, before you run, tell us, I'm putting you on the spot here, but tell us where you're going this afternoon.
We are going to Helen Fitzgerald's for the weigh-in for Guns N' Hoses, which is coming up on Wednesday, but the weigh-in is happening tonight, and the Mark Reardon Show is going to be broadcasting live from there from 3 to 6 at 4 o'clock. They are giving away tickets to Guns N' Hoses, so you have to go out there. You can sign up in person, and they're going to go give away those tickets in person. So if you have the chance, go check it out. Go to Helen Fitzgerald's in St. Louis and win yourself some tickets to Guns N' Hoses.
Yeah, we're the official radio partner of Guns N' Hoses. We'll be broadcasting that live on Wednesday night. So Reardon out there this afternoon, you can listen to that. And, of course, like Ethan said, you can be a part of that. And you can be a part of the actual event Wednesday night and listen to it here if you can't be there. A lot of fun, Guns N' Hoses, 38th annual. We're going to take a short break and be right back. And, we'll update you about the Comey and Letitia James situation. So stay here. It's the Mannie Frey Show today and tomorrow. Annie will be back on Wednesday.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin has a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate megastores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to the megastores and Dick Durbin. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
Still leading 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Well, if you haven't seen the headlines today, they dropped the cases. A federal judge, anyway, decided to drop the cases against James Comey. His is like a deep state, nasty case where he was falsifying evidence, or the claim is that he basically was making stuff up, and they knew all kinds of problems with the evidence that he was coming up with, basically fabricating against Trump in 2015, 2016. I think it was just 2016 during the campaign and then shortly after he was president. So that's a huge case, and it involves a lot of other people too. Comey was just the first one that they had to bring the case against because the statute of limitations on what he did was expiring first. That's how that works. And the federal grand jury actually did go ahead and, I'm going to get the words wrong, but I think indict. Then this judge said, no, we're dropping the case. And if you want to know the background on that, from what I've been reading, and this was breaking right before we went on at noon, so I've been trying to fill in as we've been going, but it looks like the case against Comey will return. It's just that the judge who was, I think he was an Obama judge, found enough of a problem with the way the attorney was appointed to the case that he said, well, Lindsay Hannigan, cannot bring this case because she wasn't appointed in the right way to bring it. So it really doesn't have anything to do with the case itself. It's just procedural stuff that's all part of the political chess game that happens with these things. So the question is now, does the Trump administration appeal and just move beyond this court, which is probably likely? I mean, they had to know this could happen if it was an Obama judge that could do it. So I'm sure they're prepared for that.
But if they appeal, it doesn't go to a new court. It just goes up higher court to say, no, you made the wrong decision on this. Go back and fix it. And then the case would come back to the current judge to be tried.
As far as I understand it, but that might be part of the chess.
Yeah.
That they would go, well, but then this will happen, then this will happen, and we all saw this coming, and blah, blah, blah. The other option, though, is that they just immediately appoint a new attorney to the case, and then that attorney rebrings the case. But either way, it just delays it. And so I don't know which one's faster. I don't know which one's the better strategy, but that we'll find out. And apparently the same is true of the Letitia James case, because I think it's the same judge, that they said this same attorney can't bring that case either because she's not capable of blah, blah, blah. So if you see the headline and you read spin, it'll be that, oh, the cases were dropped. There wasn't ever a case to begin with. No, these will continue.
Always how it goes.
Promise you they'll continue. We just don't know exactly what the timeline is. I'm sure they all know these things. They know how the politics play out. I'm going to play for you this clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene announcing her retirement.
The political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country. And instead, the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington. Then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live my life to the fullest as I always have, and I look forward to a new path ahead. I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026, and I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.
Brad, is Marjorie Taylor Greene the warrior for the people that you've been waiting for?
No, I haven't. I was listening to her comment there, and she said, it's so messed up in Washington where one representative like me can't go in there and fix everything. And it's like, yeah, that's how our government is set up. One representative isn't supposed to be able to go in and change the direction of the whole country. That's not the way our Constitution has set it up. So you are going to have to make alliances and stuff like that. But I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I watched what she did, and I think what happened there is she made a power play and failed. And as the old saying goes, if you come for the king, you best not miss. She missed, and now her only option now is to step out of position because that's the only way she can save face. It's like she was going to do the whole MAGA thing, and then when that didn't pan out, she's like, well, maybe I'll try to appeal to the Democrats a little bit. And the Democrats will do this with any Republican that plays this game. We will keep you around and give you airtime as long as you're useful to us, and then once you're not useful to us anymore, we're going to kick you to the curb. Adam Kinzinger, Liz Cheney, two great examples of that. As long as they can use them to bludgeon Trump, they'll keep them around. But after that, they're gone. I think she overplayed her hand, and she now is forced to resign.
Yeah, because she was probably going to get primaried, or at least Trump was threatening to primary her. He also says, though, that he doesn't really hate her.
Are you willing to forgive Congresswoman Taylor Greene?
Forgive for what? No, I just disagreed with her philosophy. She started backing perhaps the worst Republican congressman in our history, just stupid person named Massey. And I said, go your own way. And once I left her, she resigned because she would never have survived a primary. But I think she's a nice person.
Man, they really don't like Massey. Massey is not invited to anybody's parties, left or right, which I would respect if that were just the fact. It's just some of the positions that he's taken, I'm like...
And it's more lately.
Lately, it's like he's decided, well, I'm not really in the group, so I'm just going to go off in this direction.
He's kind of following is it Justin Amash?
That's exactly who I was thinking of, too. Libertarian, very principled.
Yes.
Love most of the principles. It's when they are put into real life, how do you handle it? And Massey used to be awesome. I used to love Massey.
I still like him.
In a lot of ways, I still like Massey. He just is picking fights with agencies and things that when I look into the case he's making, I don't even really completely agree with it. And don't pick every fight in the world.
Yeah.
Pick the good fight and make that your case. If it's spending, make that your thing, man. Go after it. But you're not the only person that can do these things. Maybe the only person that's pulling attention for it.
And you've got to be able to create alliances because, like I said earlier in the segment, the government isn't made for one person to shape it, especially not like a representative. It's going to take alliances. You need to convince people.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene was afraid of being primaried. I mean, that's what this really looks like. Now, people are criticizing her because she's sticking around just long enough to get her pension. I'm sure if I were in that case, I would do the same thing.
There's not a person on the face of this planet
Every single person would do that. But the criticism, and I like this one, is that if you work your entire life, most people now work their entire life, you don't get a pension at all. There's no pension. But government does. And so there's a problem. But in Congress, you can work 5 years and get a lifelong pension. Yeah, you can tell who was voting for that. It was the congressman.
This is weird enough for me to say, but I don't know that a congressman needs a pension.
Especially when you got a big name like that.
This is a public service position.
Thank you. Thank you.
So don't do it as a career.
And there are people that do it for the money. And there are people who are like, you know what, I think I'm going to get in there just long enough to get that pension, then you don't have to work the rest of your life.
And you get the health care and everything.
And if you make a name for yourself like she has, not everybody does that, but if you make a name for yourself, you get speaking engagements. You get money to come to things and be a part of things and put your name on stuff and release books, for instance. And by the way, she did release a book a couple years ago. And when the press release came out, this team here, Brad, Annie, myself to some extent, said, ooh, she's doing press.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get Marjorie Taylor Greene on the show. And we realized it this morning, that was exactly 2 years ago today that interview happened.
Yeah, it was the Monday before Thanksgiving.
The Monday before Thanksgiving. So like the date was a little bit different because Thanksgiving moves, but it was the Monday before Thanksgiving, which is today. So we thought, what'd be fun is if we went back with her being in the news, now's her retirement, if we went back and played that interview and just see what she says, because I don't think she's talking about specific policy points. She's more talking about her philosophy and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Annie interviewed her, and from what I remember, and I haven't listened back to the entire thing because I wanted to do it live with you, what she said, I remember thinking Annie did press her a couple times on a couple things, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
So we're going to play that back at 2:30. And if you want to hear Annie's interview with Marjorie Taylor Greene, like I really am looking forward to, be sure to be here at 2:30 because we're going to do that. And it should be a lot of fun. In the meantime, we will take a short break and come back and talk about Wicked. No, I'm just kidding. Well, maybe. I am going on a date tonight, Brad.
Oh?
With my wife.
Hopefully with Katie.
It's with my wife. And she said she wants to see a movie, but I don't know which one she wants to see yet.
The Nuremberg one.
I hope it's not Wicked. But I said it's kind of up to you because I'm like, look, I'm hosting. I can't look into the movies.
Mistakes were made, Ryan.
But I think what we're going to do is live, I'm going to look at the movies and we're going to pick one. And then I'm going to text Katie while we're talking.
The text, please don't make me see Wicked.
No. All right, we'll be right back.
The motion if you stumble. Go wash the dust for any answers. Come back strong with 50 belly dancers.
Get ready for the 38th Annual Guns N' Hoses. It's St. Louis's biggest charity boxing event supporting the Backstoppers. Hear it right here the night before Thanksgiving. Coverage starts at 6:30. Guns N' Hoses live on 97.1 FM Talk. Sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Cooling, Electrical, and Plumbing.
So I want to talk to you about HomeShieldFoundationRepairs.com. You've heard me talking about Matt Hayes. You've heard me talking about the various types of services that Home Shield offers folks when it comes to foundational repairs. There's a lot of things that are wrapped up in that. And if you go to their website at HomeShieldFoundationRepairs.com, you can peruse the different services they offer. But I want to speak specifically to those basements that are taking on moisture, and every time it happens, it's a gut punch. I mean, some of you have bailed out water from your basement before. The other folks out there right now know that water is getting in. Maybe there's a crack that's gotten a hairline crack that's gotten a little bit bigger, or God forbid, you're starting to see maybe some bowing in the actual walls of your basement, your foundation. Yikes. Get rid of that problem. Get rid of the pit in your stomach. Every time there's rain, even in the forecast, reach out to Home Shield Foundation Repair. Call Matt Hayes at 314-227-9636. 314-227-9636. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
Give something that means something. Roll up your sleeve at the Odyssey Blood Drive in partnership with the American Red Cross from December 16th through 19th at multiple locations. Make an appointment in the Red Cross Blood Donor app or at redcrossblood.org and enter sponsor code Odyssey for a drive near you.
The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years, offers a wide selection of engagement and wedding rings, fine jewelry, and watches to suit your style and budget. Visit us at 12 North Central Avenue or schedule a virtual appointment at thediamondshop.net.
This is the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Oh, man, that's a good song. I don't listen to loud music enough.
Oh, man, what's wrong? Did you when you were in high school, did you have the subwoofer in your car?
No. I had an old car with the CD changer in the back.
Okay.
But no subwoofer.
I had an old car, but I had two 12-inch subwoofers in the back.
I never liked subwoofers because I thought they just drowned out the music.
If you do it wrong,
Yeah, if you do it wrong, which most people at that time
Yeah.
did. They were just bass for the sake of bass.
Yeah. No, that was not me, but yeah, my trunk would rattle everywhere I went. They're like, you need to take care of those rattles. Like, it's a 79 Thunderbird. They ain't going anywhere.
As I said before, I'm going on a date tonight with my wife. The kids are going over to the grandparents, and we are going to go out to maybe eat, but certainly get a movie in there. And we're probably going to go to the theater. Brad, when's the last time you went to the actual movie theater?
It was earlier this year.
So
Yeah.
it's been not too long.
I like going to the theater.
I like to more and more than I used to.
It's just so hard to find a movie that makes me go, yeah, I want to go see that.
Yeah, I get that. But when you go and you catch a movie that's even decent, you remember how much you like
it's
movies.
So much better in the theater.
And it forces you to pay attention to it, because if you're watching movies at home anymore, man, I'm doing so many other things while I'm watching it. Sometimes I'm on my laptop or my phone while we're watching it. And I know that I could not do that, but
Yeah.
I just do it anyway.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I need to multitask to get stuff done.
I really like the first movie I saw after the theaters started opening up in COVID was Godzilla vs. Kong, which is a movie theater movie. And I think there's like
definitely.
4 of us in there, but it's like turn it up the volume, make that theater shake. Let's watch some monsters.
I don't necessarily need that. I just like the immersive quality of being in a dark theater. That's all you can pay attention to. I mean, I guess you could still text or something, but
Well,
then
the
you're
technology
annoying.
sucks you into the movie.
Yeah, it does. And that's the point. So we're going to a movie tonight, and I told my wife that she could pick the movie. And then I realized that Wicked is out based on Wiggins America from Ethan. And I went, uh-oh. And so this is happening during the show. I'm realizing this. Wicked Part 2 is out. And I think she saw Part 1, but I don't remember what she said about it. But the other ones that I'm seeing, I'm like, oh, there's actually some decent movies to go see right now. A commenter, I don't know who it was, just passed it, said Running Man with Glenn Powell is out. And I don't know what this new one will be like, but I love the original with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he just hosted Saturday Night Live not too long ago and was promoting Running Man. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. The other one is Now You See Me, Now You Don't. I think that's the third one in the series. It's Woody Harrelson. And a lot of others.
It's the magician one, right?
It's all magicians, and yeah,
Stealing.
that's out. Yeah, I think that's like a heisty kind of thing too.
Yeah.
And then what's Predator Badlands? There's a new Predator movie?
Yes. So I don't know if you know this or not, but Disney has bought the rights to the Predator movie. I think
I
think that came with Fox whenever they bought Fox. And so they've been making tons of Predator content.
Are these any good?
Predator, the one that they released during COVID, they released direct to streaming, was good, and it was the one where it was like set in frontier Old West times. But I have not heard good things about Badlands. I think what they're saying is that the CGI and everything just looks real hokey.
Okay. Now here are 2 very different movies that are playing. Regretting You, which looks like a romantic comedy, and I have no interest in. And then Sisu Road to Revenge. What is that? I don't even know. I mean, I'm reading these things and I don't even know what the heck they are.
So the first Sisu movie, it's about a Finnish miner who finds gold and then he's stopped by Nazis. And he's also, I don't know what his backstory is because I haven't found it on streaming to watch it. But he's some sort of like hardcore character. And he basically takes them out in the most violent ways possible because they're trying to steal his gold.
There are really only 2 groups of people or characters in movies, and if you want to call these people, I'm not sure, that are bad guys that you just go, oh, we need a bad guy who's just a bad guy. And one of them is for sure Nazis.
You just need a bad guy.
Yeah, and you don't have to explain anything. They just show up, they're wearing the swastika, and you're like, that guy's a bad guy. He's going to get killed.
Decked out in Hugo Boss.
Or whatever. Like, there's no back anything. It's just like you need somebody to show up who the main character can stop.
Yeah.
Actually, let me add to that, is bullies is a second category. Bullies, but usually bullies, you got to introduce them a little bit, and sometimes, depending on the movie, you'll give them a bit of a backstory so you understand why they're bullies. but then they become sympathetic characters, so you got to be careful.
You can't make them too sympathetic.
Yeah, you can't give them too much of a backstory, especially if you're just looking for a bad guy or a bad girl, either way. But the other one is zombies.
Yes.
If you just are looking for a thing that's a bad guy thing, you can just kill zombies all day. And it is like the easiest thing to do.
They made a movie several years ago, called Warm Bodies. Have you heard of this one?
Yeah.
And that's the one where the zombie becomes the love interest of the main character.
Yeah, that was a different take.
I hated that one.
I didn't love that movie.
A zombie is supposed to eat you, and also I don't like running zombies. Zombies are supposed to be like the fear and the terror of the zombies is the inevitableness of it. Like it's slow moving, rambling horde, but it doesn't matter. There's so many of them, you can't get away.
I like your theory. However, I just watched 28 Years Later last night.
Well, that's a rage virus. That's different.
We didn't quite, but it's a zombie movie. I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
We didn't quite finish it yet because we were falling asleep. But actually, it was scary enough that my wife was like, let's watch something else before we fall asleep because it is pretty gory.
Oh, for sure.
And there's a lot of suspense. The basic storyline of 28 Years Later, because the third one of the series, the first one was 28 days, second one was 28 weeks. This one, I think, was probably 10 years removed from the last one or more.
A long time,
But it's 28 years later, and the whole world has been overrun basically by zombies, or little pockets have survived. And it's these group of people that live on an island near Scotland.
Okay.
And they have created a society that is great. Everybody kind of works. Everybody's got their job. They teach kids early, to figure out your place and work in society because we all are needed to make this thing work. You're like, hey, that's great. That works. But then one of the kids' jobs is to go to the mainland to get fuel or something. I can't remember.
Resupply of
something like that. But he's only 12. And it's like, ooh, he's a little young to be doing this with his dad, who's already one of these guys. But this is his first journey with his dad onto the mainland. And it's very grotesque, but it's like, yeah, that's what it would be like if there was a zombie takeover and you were teaching your son, you can't think about these people as people. You just got to kill them. That's why I put zombies in that category. So I'm like, well, if you just need something to kill, something to blow up, zombies is a really good one. On that subject, before we get to the top here, Roman Yapolsky. I don't know who he is. He's apparently a billionaire, some sort of influencer, and a very, very wealthy man. Says there's a 99.9999999 chance of humanity being wiped out. Here's something cheery to consider next time you use an AI tool, because I think this guy's connected with AI.
Okay.
Most people involved in artificial intelligence think it could end humanity. That's the bad news. The good news is that the odds of it happening vary wildly depending on who you listen to, because Elon Musk puts it at 10 to 20% that it's the end of humanity. Still not great odds.
No.
Don't love it. But the most pessimistic end of the scale is this Roman Yapolsky, who is an AI safety scientist and creator and laboratory, blah, blah, blah. He places the odds of AI wiping out humanity at 99.99%. Elon Musk is at the other end, 10 to 20%. And at this summit that they were both at, Musk had a solution to avoiding AI wiping out humanity, saying, and this is what he's done with Grok. Don't force it to lie, even if the truth is unpleasant, Musk said. It's very important. Don't make the AI lie. Isn't that weird?
Don't lie?
Well, that you can make it lie.
Yeah.
It just seems like something that shouldn't be possible. It seemed like you shouldn't have to say, don't make the computers lie to people.
Yeah. I've heard something about they call it hallucinations in AI, where they'll make something up when they don't have data, so they'll fill in the gap themselves. And it's like, teach it to say, I don't have that answer. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just creepy that all the people involved in AI, they're making it knowing I'm making something that could be the end of civilization. And they all say that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just bizarre.
Well, they kind of felt that way about nuclear energy and stuff like that.
I guess that's true, but nuclear bombs aren't pervasive in society. they're not going to be a part of your everyday life. AI is already a part of our lives. Like, this article is actually a couple months old, and some of the things in it, I'm already going, well, we've already gotten there. It's already in classrooms. It's already doing these things that we predicted that it would be doing. We're there. Kids have already started using it on papers. It's already tough to see what they've written and what they haven't. It's just wild that this is happening so fast. We'll be right back with Marc Cox.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. When we meet our clients for the first time, they have built up a lifetime of savings. Their question is, what can we do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? First, we develop a strategy to protect your nest egg from any market losses. Then, we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money.
You've earned it, and it's our job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You will also get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 39 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Triton Exteriors. Not sure if you've noticed, but the storms seem to be especially bad this spring. If you had James Hardy Smart Siding, you wouldn't have to worry about it. It's not going to be damaged like in the 314-day storm. So we do roofing, siding, gutters, fences. We're always going to be the middle bid. We're never going to cut corners. We're never going to take advantage of you. Call 314-717-1159 or triton-stl.com.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
A lot of Americans will be on the move. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
We're going to have a busy road, rail, and air as we come into this Thanksgiving season.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says record air travel is expected this week. And on the roads, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Sunday afternoons will likely be the busiest times. Duffy speaking a short time ago at New Jersey's Newark Liberty Airport alongside FAA Administrator Brian Bedford.
And I just want to assure the traveling public that we're ready and we're able to get the job done. So again, please know you should fly with confidence.
This after the recent disruptions during the government shutdown. Criminal charges against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James are tossed out by a federal judge, not on the merits of the cases, but in a fight over the legal authority of the interim U.S. attorney involved. The judge ruling that Lindsay Halligan's appointment was defective and that she's been serving unlawfully, which the Justice Department disputes. Today's ruling is without prejudice, which means those cases could be brought again. Comey just posting the charges accusing him of lying to Congress were based on malevolence and incompetence. James has described the mortgage fraud case against her as political. The Pentagon says it's investigating misconduct allegations against Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, threatening to recall the retired Navy captain back into active duty for a possible court-martial. The statement does not specifically name a video Kelly was part of with other Democrats, urging service members to refuse illegal orders.
President Trump initially called the video seditious. While he'd said sedition could be punishable by death, he later wrote these lawmakers should be in jail. Kelly said on a Sunday talk show he will not be intimidated and that all they did was reiterate what is already the rule of law.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal, the senator, adding in a post today, if the probe's meant to intimidate members of Congress from holding the administration accountable, it won't work. America is listening to Fox News.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. You'll find exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 50% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Gloomy weather in play as we go through our Monday afternoon. Periods of rain developing, especially late today. 57 for the high. Tonight, periods of rain through midnight. 49 for the overnight low. Tuesday, partly sunny. Warmest day of the week. 63 degrees. Cold front comes through. Tuesday night, partly cloudy, windy, and cold. 37. Dry Wednesday and Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, in the 40s. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Time to get ready for cold weather and schedule your heating system check. Get not just your heating system, but your entire HVAC system checked for $19 a month with the Preferred Partner Plan. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Oh, yeah, it is the moment you have been waiting for.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom.
Annie's out. Ryan and Brad are in.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
This is the Mannie Frey Show.
Well, I think almost immediately, the security situation changed for all of us. Leadership climate is set at the top. So if the president's saying things like that, you can imagine people on the ground, what they're doing, the calls into our office, et cetera, into our teams, the calling of police. I think I've been through dangerous situations before, so it doesn't change, my feeling about speaking my mind. But obviously, the president took issue with one sentence in a video and was calling for our death. I think that's inappropriate.
Well, there seems to be some problems and there's some backpedaling going on with this issue. Marc Cox is here to talk about it with us. Marc, these Democrat senators have said that they want to make sure that the U.S. military isn't responding to unlawful orders. And that apparently can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, and now they're having to backpedal.
What a shame. I read today that the Department of War might recall Senator Mark Kelly to the military so that they can hold a military tribunal for him. Now, I can't imagine them carrying through with that threat, but here's the thing that shocked me the most about this, Ryan, is that the entire reaction from the mainstream media has been focused not on the outrageous behavior of these 6 Democrats, but on the reaction to their outrageous behavior by Donald Trump. That amazes me, and I've heard people that refer to themselves as Republicans on other radio stations in town doing the same thing. They've completely focused on the fact that Donald Trump tweeted something about the penalty for sedition, and not on the 6 people who encouraged young members of our military to defy orders. It's unthinkable. It's deplorable, I think, is a word I might use.
Mark, you know what's amazing to me, even as you're speaking, I'm realizing this wasn't just an offhanded comment that now somebody's getting in trouble for, because we see that in politics all the time, that you did an interview and you said so, you put your foot in your mouth. This was a plan. This was 6 Democrats, U.S. senators, who came at an issue and said, you know what we need to do? All get together and tell the military to consider not following orders. I mean, that's a decision.
There was an intentionality about it, and I did hear that fundraising letters were sent out the same day that the video was released. So it strikes me that right now none of them can say which illegal orders they were actually referring to. I heard one, Alyssa Slotkin, say that she didn't know of any illegal orders, but there might be some. So it's almost like they either they did it just to fundraise, or they did it because they must believe there's some decision pending somewhere in Donald Trump's administration that they might be able to come out and label as illegal. And if they've already produced this video in advance, then they can come out and say, this is what we were warning you about. I can't envision any other reason you would do it. It's really outrageous, and particularly for the ones that have been in the military. I think almost all of them had served, and the one had served in the CIA, I believe. They should all know better.
Absolutely. I mean, the Mark Kelly thing, like you were saying, for him to be in active reserve and then to do this, I mean, what a boneheaded move. Like that's just, you're just asking for problems.
Well, the U.S. Military Code of Justice, I think, pretty well spells this out. There's a process that a member of the military is to go through if they believe the order they've been given is not proper. And there is a process for that appeal to be heard, the proper way to do it. And if you bypass that, you could be court-martialed. And if you're found guilty of it, one of the possible outcomes of that is death. Donald Trump didn't make any of that up. I mean, it wasn't. He just pointed out that he felt their behavior was seditious. And I don't know. I again am amazed at the overreaction to what Trump said instead of some major overreaction that there should have been to what these 6 Democrats said.
Mark, another issue that happened this weekend. Tell me a little bit about what you thought about this meeting.
You're a billionaire. You have a different address nowadays than you used to. But you used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job.
Trump and Mamdani, do you like seeing these guys get together?
I would say, Kami Mamdani, Trump's your daddy. That's what happened, Ryan, in that photo op that they held in the Oval Office. My biggest disappointment is when I found out that they weren't going to allow open press for the meeting. That would have been on the level of the Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi in the Oval Office with Donald Trump that time when they were begging him to force the cameras out of the room so they could do their back table deal with him. And instead, Trump made the cameras stay. And in this case, he met privately with Mamdani, then came out and sat at the desk and let Mamdani stand behind him like a schoolboy that had been called in for bad behavior. Mamdani was in so far over his head it wasn't even funny. My guess is he realizes that at some level now.
Boy, that did look funny. I mean, with Trump sitting there, it did look like, oh, Mamdani's just a guest here. He's just one of the many people that we shake hands with and sign autographs. You know, it just didn't look like he was the mayor or the future mayor of New York City.
Well, I enjoyed the imagery for sure, but you know, for him to run back out, he was asked the question in the Oval Office, do you still think he's a fascist? Trump was screwing with him and said, you might as well go ahead and say yes. It doesn't matter. And then he ran out on the Sunday shows and said, yes, I think he's still a fascist. So he wouldn't say it standing in front of him, but he was willing to say it on the set of one of the morning shows.
You're exactly right. We've got those clips. We played those too. That's been part of the comedy of the show today. Let me ask you this, though, Mark. Is it good for these guys to be meeting? I mean, the report is that Mamdani, this is from Charlie Gasparino, that Mamdani was the one who actually requested this meeting. And Trump just said, sure, you come in. If you want to meet with me, come on in. That seems like, why wouldn't you take that meeting?
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, Donald Trump is not likely one to be intimidated. If the purpose of the meeting was to try to intimidate, he picked the wrong guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's anybody in the world Donald Trump's afraid to negotiate with or look square in the eye. So if that's what it was probably a miscalculation on Mamdani's part. He probably needed to try to look big, and maybe in the eyes of his followers that worked. I don't know, but I don't think it worked in the eyes of anyone else. He looked like he was 12 years old.
Yeah, again, the optics were bad, and then again, like you're saying, for Mamdani, I'm not sure what he's gaining from that meeting, other than just that he's meeting with the president of the United States. Donald Trump is very famous. It does put him on that stage, I guess.
I'm surprised Trump didn't say something to him like, Mayor-elect, I've got more money than your daddy. Because they're both rich. The guy's never worked a day in his life.
I didn't know that about him. He comes from wealth too, huh?
He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He's never worked a day in his life doing anything, and yet he's a limousine liberal and a democratic socialist, as he likes to describe it. I don't think there's any difference there, personally.
Oh, that's the best way to be a socialist, is to trip into money.
Yeah, exactly.
Mark, I've been hearing you talk about it, but I wanted to have you here to talk about this event and your raffle, if you wouldn't mind filling us all in on what's going on.
I got to tell you, I don't know if you and Brad remember this or not, but a couple years ago, you guys and Annie helped me a lot with my with this effort that I help out with each November. My friends at Responder Rescue, great organization. This is a big month for backstoppers, and they do great work. Primarily the work they do is when officers are killed in the line of duty. Responder Rescue is there all year round for first responders who may be injured in the line of duty and not getting full pay, and they're behind on a bill or whatever the case may be. They step in and they help out. So a few years ago, I decided to help them out with this raffle each November, and great prizes this year. I just got to tell you, let me start this way, though. The tickets are only $1.
Okay.
You have to buy a minimum of $10 because we use a charity website that doesn't charge any fee to the charity, but they require a minimum purchase of $10 for the transaction. So it's an easy way for Responder Rescue to raise money, and all the money goes directly to Responder Rescue. Not a dime of it is spent administratively here. It's everything's volunteered. 3 great prizes. I'll mention them real quick. One is I call it a liquor basket or a bourbon basket that I helped put together. And for people who are bourbon fans, they'll know I've got some Pappy Van Winkle in there. I've got a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle. That bottle alone is worth $1,000. And then I've got several other bottles of bourbon. I would guess there's probably $2,000 worth of bourbon in this barrel, in this basket. And then, of course, I've got a bunch of other stuff that people have donated to help out with some rum and some moonshine, and Stolock whiskey out of Defiance has donated a tasting for 10 people in one of their bottles. It's just fantastic. You could win that. You could win a gun from the Reign St. Louis West. They've donated a CZ 9mm handgun that they will be part of the raffle. And then there's a night at Lit Cigar Lounge where we had our 25th birthday party. They donated a night for 10 people and a bottle service and cigars and all. It's worth about $1,000. So all you got to do is buy your tickets. The money goes straight to Responder Rescue. Just text the word responder to 33100. That's the best way to do it. We're behind a little bit. Ryan, I don't know if you heard about my accident. I think you did.
Oh, yeah.
I was off work for about a week earlier this month, and I wasn't at work pumping this raffle, and my donations are down a little bit, but my ribs are healing, And I need to sell more tickets between now and Wednesday at about noon when we pick a winner. Well, 3 winners actually will be picked at noon on Wednesday. And the person who donates the most, whether they win one of the 3 prizes or not, is going to get treated to dinner with blues legend Tony Twist and me and the folks from Responder Rescue. They're going to be invited out to a really nice dinner if they donate the most money this year to the raffle.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even see that on the sheet yet. That's news to me. Okay. It's
an addition. It's a late addition. Tony Twist volunteered to do it, and we're like, oh, yeah, that's great. That guy's funny.
Oh, that's super fun. So we're going to help you with this, Mark. So right now, if you're listening, text Responder to 33100. And then you'll receive the link to your phone. And like Mark just said, $10 for 10 tickets. But then if you buy $25, you get 27 tickets. And if you do $50, you get 55 tickets. So there's options to sort of up the game there. And it all goes to a great cause. And I have to testify, Mark, I've seen you with these bourbon bottles when they come in. Now, I don't know if I've seen you with a bottle of Pappy's. But when the really good ones come in, I can tell how expensive it is based on the way you hold it. And the more it looks like you're holding a newborn baby, the more I'm like, that's an expensive bottle right there.
That's a good bottle. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. I'm very excited with all the generosity because every single bottle that's going to be given away next Wednesday has been donated. I mean, somebody was nice enough to donate that bottle of Rip Van Winkle. It's 10-year-old Kentucky bourbon that's probably worth $1,000 on the secondary market. So it was a great generosity on the part of everyone involved. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Rip Van Winkle. I said the wrong thing. Text Responder to 33100. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say they all refer to it as Pappy.
Okay.
But the 10-year is called Rip Van Winkle, and it's, like I said, $9.99 a bottle if you can find it. Good luck to you.
Right. Okay. So text Responder to 33100 right now, and you'll get that link, and we'll be watching it very closely because this is all for a great cause. Mark, you do it every year. Thanks for doing that. And then last thing for you before you go. Sorry, I'm holding you long here, but my wife and I are going to see a movie tonight, and I need you to weigh in on what we should see. There are 3 options. The first one is Wicked, the new Wicked movie. The second one is Now You See Me, Now You Don't. And the third is Running Man.
Well, you've got me at a disadvantage. I haven't seen any of them. And I think you had to have seen the first Wicked to see the second one, right?
Well, that's my impression. And I'm just hoping you say don't go see Wicked is all I'm looking for here.
I think I would avoid Wicked unless you're a huge Wicked fan and you've already seen the first one.
Okay, good. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to go tell her, Marc Cox told me on the air that we can't go see the movie.
My daughter went to see it the other night, but she's seen the first one, and I think that to make sense, it's the second half of the same movie. I could be wrong. I don't know anything about the other 2, though.
Well, what I'm going to tell her is I've never heard of The Wizard of Oz or seen that movie, so I can't see any of this stuff. Mark, thanks for your time, and we'll watch this close, and we'll keep talking about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it.
All right, take care, and heal up. We're all rooting for you, and we're all rooting for Mark and this great raffle that he does every year. It is a great cause, and it's a lot of fun, too. You can win some fun stuff. Again, text Responder to 33100, and it'll give you the link right there to your phone. All right, we'll take a short break and be right back. This is the Mannie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Diamond Shop. You find them online at thediamondshop.net. Buying jewelry, it's about trusting the person you're buying it from and believing that they have the knowledge, the experience to guide you through your purchase. It means trust. It means walking into a place where you know they probably know more about fine jewelry and whatever you're bringing in or whatever you're trying to purchase and take out. They know more about that transaction than you do, and you want to be able to trust that they have your best interest at heart. And that's why I am so excited to be partnered with the Diamond Shop, because they're wonderful people. And being able to send you to meet Tom, to meet Mona, to meet Nikki, the staff at the Diamond Shop, I know every single time when you go in there and you say Annie sent you, they're going to be excited to see you, and they are going to treat you as well as they possibly can. You're going to get great service, a wonderful product, and you're going to say, gosh, I wish I would have known about these folks sooner. Visit the Diamond Shop in Clayton or online right now at thediamondshop.net.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Swapping out your tires? There's nothing like it. With eBay, you can find the feel you're looking for, from smooth highway rides to grip for rough terrain. Get all the tires you need at prices you'll love. eBay. Things people love.
Rooted in faith, grounded in family. This is the Annie Frey Show.
Oh, I got an update on the date situation. My wife and I get a date night tonight. My parents are watching the kids. She texted me. I don't think she was listening. She texted me her choice of the 3 movies that I just told Mark about. The 3 movies were Wicked, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, and then The Running Man. And I just said, look, I just don't want to see Wicked. I didn't tell her this yet. I just kind of want to see what she thought without me intervening. And I looked to see who's in Now You See Me, Now You Don't. It's Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Dave Franco, Isla Fisher, Morgan Freeman, Rosamund Pike, and then a few other people that you may have heard the names or not. But a lot of stars in that one. And she just texted me her choice, what we're going to see tonight. Do you know which one of those 3?
Let's see here. The other one is Glenn Powell, and that's kind of like a remake of an 80s movie. So I'm going to say Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
That's what I would have thought too. Running Man.
Really?
She said she wants to go see Running Man.
Big Glenn Powell fan?
Well, we just randomly last night, I said this already, that we watched a little bit, well, quite a bit of the new 28 Years Later zombie rage virus movie. Yeah. And it's freaky and it's very suspenseful because here's the thing. And I don't know what happens. We're only about halfway through because we had to stop because she's like, I'm a little freaked out. We need to watch something else.
Okay.
So we got halfway through it and she said, let's pause because it's a 12-year-old boy and my son's 11 and my daughter's 11
so
too.
It gets a little real.
So it's like, oh, what if this happened? You know, my mind just doesn't go there.
Yeah.
Like, this will not happen. But her mind's going, what if this happened?
Yes.
And so she was getting a little freaked out because we're watching a 12-year-old boy with his dad, and they both are archers. They both are bow and arrow guys. So they're on the mainland where all the zombies are, the rage virus are. And you're constantly seeing situations that aren't threatening necessarily to the kid because you're following the kid more. They're threatening to the dad. And then all of a sudden, what happens if the dad gets bit and then the son's left alone? That's the fear.
Okay.
That's the fear that they're setting up in the movie. I don't really know what happens, but she's been freaked out. So we had to stop and turn on something light and fun. So we turned on Saturday Night Live, and it happened to be the episode hosted by Glenn Powell.
Mm-hmm.
And this was we're about 2 weeks behind. And so we watched that, and it was a pretty good episode for the most part. There was a couple of stinkers in there, but it was good, and he's endearing. And she thought, oh, this guy's kind of cocky, and he's not. He wasn't that way in Saturday Night Live anyway. And so he came across very well in that show.
He's a very good actor is what he is.
He is a good actor, and he really went with some of these really goofy characters in a way that made him seem like a comic actor more than I thought he would be.
He did a special with Hulu, or a TV show series with Hulu called Chad Powers, And the premises of, I don't know if you've heard of this or not, but the premises of this is he is a disgraced former college Heisman winner who screws up the last play of the game that could have won his team the national championship, and then he just spirals from there. So he's basically a loser. And then he finds out that this other NCAA team is going to have open tryouts for a quarterback. He creates a character named Chad Powers, and his dad is a movie makeup guy. And so he steals some prosthetics from him, and he creates this different persona. And then he walks on and wins the quarterback job at this other place.
Oh, that's cool.
And it is hilarious. He is a great comedic actor.
Really?
Yeah, so it's Chad Powers, and it's on Hulu. They've completed the season now, and it ends on a cliffhanger.
So he was in Top Gun, too.
Yes, Hangman.
And he was supposed to host Saturday Night Live at that point. And he tells this story on the recent episode that he got the phone call while he was sitting with his family just outside. They were doing something. And he got the phone call from Lorne Michaels, hey, we want you to come host Saturday Night Live. And he said it had been a dream of his whole life. And he started celebrating. He's high-fiving with his family. And then a UPS driver drives up at that moment and drops the package off. And they all start telling him, hey, this guy right here is going to host Saturday Night Live. Can you believe it? And they're high-fiving with that guy. Well, then COVID hit, and they had to delay the release of Top Gun. So he didn't get to host at that moment.
Because it wouldn't make sense.
They wouldn't have probably known who he was.
Right.
Lorne Michaels told him, look, people don't know who you are, so you can't host yet. And so this was like the redemption for him. And he told that story in his monologue, and then he brings up that UPS driver.
UPS driver. That's awesome.
It was really cool.
He's like, see, I told you.
We were watching it going, is this real? Yeah, it was. It was real. That was really that guy. And they had a picture of him back when that happened 4 years ago. It was pretty cool. So I think that changed my mind, or her mind, about Glenn Powell a little bit.
Yeah.
And now we're going to see Running Man tonight. How about that? So we teased this a little bit. Marjorie Taylor Greene is retiring, and she happened to be on this show exactly 2 years ago, Monday before Thanksgiving of 2023. She was here, and Annie did an interview with her. And I told Brad, I would really like to play that back in the 2 o'clock hour. So we're going to do that next. If you have never heard that, stick around. We're going to kind of re-experience it together and see what Marjorie Taylor Greene was telling Annie Frey about her career and her life and her philosophy 2 years ago to the day. That's next here on the Annie Frey Show.
Michael's Flooring Outlet. You find them online at igotfloored.com. When you shop for flooring at Michael's Flooring Outlet, you're going to see a ton of wonderful, high-quality brand names, including that Smart Strand Mohawk silk line of carpet. They have silky softness finishes. It's so just like heartwarming. When you go into your new home, when you walk back in and you remember you hit that smell of fresh new carpet in your house, and you take your shoes off, you take your socks off, and you get to stretch out on that beautiful new carpet. Maybe play with the kids, the grandkids, the dogs, whatever it is. You are looking for a quality carpet to put in your house that's going to live up to the life you're going to live on it. Michael's Flooring Outlet has a ton of options for you. Quality options at great value. 3 times more individual fibers than ordinary nylon carpet. If you're interested in the Smart Strand Mohawk silk line, check them out online. Michael's Flooring Outlet, 3 locations across St. Louis, but online right now at igotfloored.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mary Claire Haver, a board-certified OBGYN and menopause specialist. My new podcast, Unpaused, is the place for bold, unfiltered conversations about what it really takes for women to thrive in the second half of life. Every week, I sit down with medical experts, cultural icons, and powerhouse women to talk about what really matters. New episodes drop every Tuesday. Listen to and follow Unpaused with me, Dr. Mary Claire Haver, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
What's your favorite 4-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our 4-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: will the Epstein files boomerang on Democrats? 3 options: yes, it will, no, it won't, or it already has. We want to know what you think, so jump on Annie's YouTube page on the live stream there and vote and tell us why you voted the way you voted. We might read it on air. The time is 2:31. This time check is brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. From the gateway to the airwaves. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
All right, it's the Monday before Thanksgiving, and 2 years ago to the day, this is Annie Frey interviewing Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Our strategy includes expanded lawful pathways for migration, strengthened consequences for unlawful entry at the border, removing a record number of individuals found to be ineligible for protection under the law, and increased partnership across the region to curb irregular migration.
That's November 8th, and that is Secretary Mayorkas just talking about how strong his administration, or this administration, I should say, has been on the border. Aren't you feeling it? Can't you tell? When you see all of the things that are facing this country right now, you're thinking, well, at least we got that border under control. Please. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene started an impeachment process, whatever her role was, to get the ball rolling. And I believe there were 8 Republicans that voted with Democrats to say, nope, not right now. It went to committee, as I understand it, not to put the vote on the floor. We're going to speak with Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene here in a couple minutes about a new book that she has out. But we're going to ask her what it's like to be in Congress. And I want to know a little bit more about Marjorie Taylor Greene, the person who became a congresswoman. And we're going to get to the bottom of what her next step is in the impeachment process of Alexander Mayorkas. When we have done polls before in the show on the Annie Frey YouTube channel, and we've talked about impeachment, it is generally the case that the impeachment of Mayorkas far surpasses your interest in the impeachment of Joe Biden. The idea that the southern border is not secure and that the world is on fire and that we can't figure out a way to actually focus in on this issue and make it a top priority and make sure that everybody around the world knows that you can't just come into the southern part of our country. Where is that priority? I'm interested to hear what she's going to do next on that. Hope you had a great weekend. We have a Thanksgiving week here, holiday week, so come along and spend your work week portion of this with us. I mentioned the work week. Our YouTube live chat poll, we're going to talk about this a little bit later in the show. Is an 8-hour in-office work week an acceptable standard expectation? I think post-COVID, people are going to maybe have different thoughts on this, but we want you to go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and join us there and make sure that you weigh in on why you vote yes or no on the YouTube live chat poll. Have you ever, Brad, held a standard 8-hour in-office work week?
Outside of this one, I don't even know if this one actually even counts because I do.
It could almost be more.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's not in office. Well, you are in office.
In office, but also like there's out-of-office stuff that I do and pulling stuff for the show even after regular office hours. This is the closest that I've had to a regular 8-hour a day work in office work week.
I think that what you're doing here is the standard plus.
Yeah.
Which I feel like the main conversation happening culturally right now is the standard minus.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. You know, I've seen people say, well, they do it differently in other parts of the world. And it's like, well, yeah, but other parts of the world don't have the world's biggest economy. They're not the
They
world's
also
leading...
tax the snot out of their citizens and provide a lot of things through the government that people come to America to get taken care of because they don't get it.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I think this is an acceptable expectation. And I'm not a big fan of people that aren't driven to work 40 hours.
Go to the Annie Frey YouTube poll. Join us there. Leave a comment, leave a vote, and we will highlight your thoughts on that poll throughout the course of the show. So the book is out tomorrow. The book from Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. She represents the 14th District of Georgia. It is shipping tomorrow. So if you go, you could, I guess it's technically a pre-order now, but the books are going out tomorrow. So it's basically the same thing as if you were just going to order it. It would ship. You're going to get it. You're going to get it right away. The book is called MTG. And that is going to be my first question for our guest, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. As I said, the 14th District of Georgia Congresswoman here on the Annie Frey Show today. Congresswoman, thank you for your time today. We're really grateful to speak with you.
Oh, thanks for having me on, Annie. I really appreciate it.
Of course. You know, the first question that I want to ask you, as I was looking through your book, and we're going to get to some of the details in there because it has to do with a lot of the key stories that we're watching happen in the news right now. You titled the book MTG, and I was going to ask you what it's like to be an acronym and if you embrace that, and then you named your book that. So I'm assuming that that's a yes?
Yeah, I've learned to embrace it. I was just an ordinary American, really fed up with how our country was going and kind of mad at Republicans, to be honest, because they were never stopping or still never stopped the Democrats' unbelievable destructive agenda. And I got labeled MTG, so I said, all right, you know what, I'll stick with it.
Yeah. Do people refer? Is that how they refer to you, to your face? Do you refer to yourself as MTG? I mean, I'm sure everyone's calling you Congresswoman, but is that kind of your name now?
Yeah, it has kind of become my name with a lot of people, and I guess it's easier to type out. It's a lot shorter than Marjorie Taylor Greene, so that does make it easy. So I go with that as well.
Well, Congresswoman, we're grateful to talk about your book, and it's an articulation of battles you're fighting in the halls of Congress and all of the consequences of being in Congress. I want to start with your effort to impeach Secretary Mayorkas. I played a clip from November 8th where he's talking about, Mayorkas is talking about how they've pursued a comprehensive strategy to manage the unprecedented issue at our southern border. It doesn't feel like that here in the central part of the country in St. Louis. You said he needs to be impeached. Where's that process sit right now?
Well, I had introduced articles of impeachment last Congress, and then I reintroduced them again, and they were sitting for 6 months in the Judiciary Committee, basically just collecting dust. And after 2 of my constituents were killed by a 17-year-old cartel member smuggling illegal aliens in our country in Texas, I was so upset about it. I introduced them as a privilege resolution on the House floor. And unfortunately, 8 Republicans voted with the Democrats, and 4 of those 8 Republicans serve on the Judiciary Committee. And they sent my articles of impeachment back to committee, where apparently they got put back on the shelf to collect some more dust. I was really outraged over that because in my mind, it's like how many dead Americans do we have to pile up before we actually impeach Secretary Mayorkas, who is willfully breaking our laws? And we've had over 10 million people cross our border since Biden took office, and there have been 1.8 million gotaways that are in our country. We don't know who they are, where they're from, what their purpose is, and it's believed that thousands of them are likely terrorists. And after seeing what happened in Israel, we're in real trouble. The same thing that could happen to us, but maybe a lot worse. So this is a no-brainer. Secretary Mayorkas of Homeland Security needs to be impeached. We have to bring accountability to an administration that has virtually had none and is ruining our country.
We're speaking with Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Congresswoman representing the 14th District of Georgia. Her book out. You can get it shipping tomorrow, called MTG. Should be easy for you to remember. I want to know about the effort you're making to get to the bottom of the southern border. I think I fully support it. I wish that all of the Republicans would support it. And it seems as though every time there's something that kind of feels like a no-brainer to the majority of the Republican Party or people who hold conservative values, a razor thin majority of Republicans in the House. You got 6 Republicans who say no. You got 8 Republicans who say no, or whatever it might be. And the drama becomes the story. And those 2 individuals from your district become a back burner concern. Talk to me about the drama in Congress and the Republicans' ability or inability to get things done.
Yeah, and then that's a shame. There shouldn't be, we should be able to fix our drama because we work for the American people. It's unfortunate. In our conference, we only have a few seat majority, and it takes 218 votes to get anything passed on the House floor. This is really why I wrote my book, MTG, was to pull the curtain back so that people could understand what happens in Congress or virtually why nothing happens in Congress, which is my frustration. But we have quite a division in our GOP conference right now, even though we have a new speaker. Not much has changed, honestly. And, we've got everything. You got your moderates, you've got your conservatives. I'm very conservative. You've got, and every type of Republican in between. And some, I would argue, are not so Republican themselves. But we have a really hard time getting an agreement on how to do things. And that's a shame, and it shouldn't happen. And another problem that's happening is, I call it revenge voting. There's some members of Congress, and it's pretty prevalent in our new freshman group and some others, where they just won't vote for something because it has someone's name on it they don't like. And I think that is the worst thing you can possibly do. It's our job to vote and vote the right way. And it shouldn't matter whether you like somebody or not. You should always vote and do the right thing for the country.
Yeah, it's hard to look at. I feel for somebody in your position, anybody who is representing a district where, a Republican district in New York might look a little different than the 14th district of Georgia. And so you have two Republicans in a Republican caucus where you need to come together and solve the problems of the American people. But the drama kind of gets in the way. It's like, if we're voting on principle, it seems as though that name on a bill shouldn't remove the principle of still representing what those people in those districts likely are trying to support.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give you an example of one that this is a chapter in my book. I have a bill called the Protect Children's Innocence Act, and it's a bill that would stop the surgeries on anybody under the age of 18, like mastectomies, castration, the transgender surgeries on kids. And I mean, this is an 80% issue in polling across America with all voters, that Americans believe that that kids need to grow up first. Let them grow up before they do anything so permanently damaging to their bodies. And this bill, I cannot get it passed because there's some Republicans, unfortunately, they're conservatives, and they think it's a state rights issue. And I can't argue enough that it is not a state rights issue, especially when California, New York, Washington, and other states will literally take kids away from their parents. The state government will take kids away from their parents so they can have their body parts chopped off. It's not a state rights issue anymore. So these are the types of arguments we have, and it is really destructive and debilitating to be able to do the right thing.
We're speaking with Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene about her battles that she fights in the congressional halls as she represents the 14th District of Georgia. And she's written about a lot of these in her new book that is coming out, ships tomorrow. It's called MTG. Congresswoman, I think about you probably, I don't know how many interviews you do in any given day or any given week, but the stuff that comes across my desk on any given day from anybody in Congress, it's, we get the really, really punchy stuff that becomes a soundbite and a clip, and it goes into the media. And you're a firebrand, and you're sometimes a flamethrower. And I think people probably know a very small percentage of who Marjorie Taylor Greene is. Do you feel as though you're misunderstood at all in Congress?
Well, misunderstood is one thing, but I've been lied about, and that's an extreme frustration of mine. Ever since I entered Congress in January of 2021, the media basically created a character of me that doesn't exist, and then they sold it and basically put it in the news 24/7 across our country and even the world. And so that has been extremely unfair, and I address a lot of that in my book. I also talk about things that were happening in my life after I got kicked off of committees by 11 Republicans and all the Democrats, which was unbelievable. And I tell a very personal story. The one thing that I really cared about that was happening while I was getting nothing but horrific attacks and terrible headlines in the news. It wasn't those that bothered me. It was my dad's battle with cancer. But, I tell all these stories because, I am a person, a real person. And I want people to know exactly who I am, what my words are, and what I really think and feel, not what the media has portrayed about me, which has been extremely unfair and a lot of lies. So the book was great. MTG. I have some funny stories in there. I even talk about the headline "Jewish space lasers," a phrase I never said, but they wrote crazy stories about me.
Do you laugh when that happens, or do you get mad and then it becomes funny, or are you just still mad about it?
Well, that one I was so shocked by. I still am shocked by it. So I thought this is worth writing about in the book. So I did. I covered that topic. But yeah, I laugh about that one now, but in the beginning it was not so funny.
Right.
I spent a lot of time the first 6 months or so saving every article and news story, sending them to my attorney, demanding that we sue the media company or whoever said it. And then my attorney finally convinced me that I was going to go broke trying to sue everybody because they have such a high bar for people like me. If you're a public figure, it's very hard to win a lawsuit like that. But so I finally gave up on that and decided, you know what, I'll focus my attention to, I started roll calling votes. That's forcing Congress to vote on record, not with voice votes. And I found out that was much needed. America deserves a voting record that they can read of every member of Congress. And so I did that a lot, and I still do that this Congress.
Well, before we let you go, we're speaking with Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. As you heard her say, her book, MTG, you can go order it right now. It ships tomorrow. And I want to ask you, probably the biggest news story that developed over the course of the weekend was those 40,000 hours of tapes that were released by the new speaker about January 6th. And I just want you to give us your thoughts on the tapes that have been released and what you want the American people to look at, see, know, or understand now that that's out there in the public.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. I have a whole chapter about January 6th in my book. It's unbelievable. I was there in the House chamber when it happened, objecting to Joe Biden's electoral college votes, and I had organized that objection with some of my colleagues, Matt Gaetz and others. And, and I was also one of the only members of Congress to actually go in the D.C. jail and visit them back in November of 2021, when they were being persecuted like so bad. I mean, they're still being persecuted now, but it was really bad then. And so there's a lot of meaning behind those videotapes for me after seeing what those men are going through, and they're still going through it. So it's been 90 hours actually have been released. Only 90 hours of 44,000 were released, and that was on the portal. That portal, it took months to build. That had been happening even before Speaker Johnson released them. Going back, I think, into the summer, they started building that portal. And I think it's important for people to be able to see anything that happened that day. The American taxpayer paid for it. The Capitol buildings paid for by the taxpayers. The videotapes are paid by the taxpayers, and if they want to see them, I think truth is the best remedy. But here's the situation: releasing the videotapes is not stopping the prosecutions of innocent January 6th people that just walked in the Capitol, or even were standing on Capitol grounds that are being indicted and prosecuted by the Department of Justice. So I've called on our Speaker, Mike Johnson, to create a January 6th committee, a new committee that will hold the old committee accountable for their lies, hold Nancy Pelosi accountable, subpoena the FBI, subpoena the Department of Justice, and really push for accountability to stop what's happening to so many Americans.
Congresswoman, if a Democrat wins the 2024 election, are we in the status quo right now from January 6th?
Oh, my goodness. if a Democrat wins the 2024 election, I think we'll see things get a lot worse. You know, I met with Edward Bolsonaro and some other members of Congress from Brazil just 2 weeks ago, and they were telling me that since the Lula administration has taken over in Brazil, that they are coming after many supporters of Bolsonaro that are members of Congress, trying to take away their rights to hold political office. That they are cracking down on media, censoring people on social media. It got a lot worse in Brazil after this. I think if we don't get President Trump back in office, I think we're going to see things get even worse than they are right now.
Well, the book, you can find it at mtgbook.com. Congresswoman, thank you so much for the time today. It was a real pleasure to speak to you and hear about some of these things in your own words, and we look forward to seeing what the book has to say in more detail.
Yeah, thanks so much, Annie. I really enjoyed it. It was good to talk to you.
You as well. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Happy Thanksgiving. You know, I talk about a lot of people who I've partnered with here on this radio show, but I want to talk specifically about Stewie right now and the feedback that I consistently get from people like you, the ones who've been listening to me talk about a bagel loan and explain that a bagel loan is called a bagel loan because it's a mortgage, that a bagel reminds you of a zero. You pay $0 in closing costs. You know the whole thing. But you guys have heard me talking about this for years now. You've heard me say that I have myself gone through a bagel loan twice to refinance my house, and I've got an amazing rate to show for it. But you haven't called 314-324-4440 yet. You've thought about it, but you're just not sure. Maybe it's not as good as Annie says. But you know what? I keep hearing from listeners exactly like you who have already taken up and made that phone call or sent that text message just to find out for themselves. How can the bagel loan work for me? This is your shot. Stewart's American Mortgage, 314-324-4440. Reach out to Stewie. You'll be so glad you did. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Dad, that's what Grandpa Rip always said.
That's right. 50 years ago, Grandpa started Grasser. And whenever a customer called, he'd smile and say, "Hey, it's good to see you."
Hey, it's good to see you.
It was his way of treating people like neighbors, not numbers. That's why we still say it today.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Woke radical liberals are screwing up this country, but Congressman Jason Smith is fighting back. He backed one big, beautiful tax cut for working families, ending Social Security taxes for nearly all seniors, and taxes on tips and overtime gone. So call Congressman Jason Smith at 202-225-4404 and thank him for backing working family tax cuts and putting America first. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Marjorie Taylor Greene from 2 years ago. I thought that was really cool, especially listen to the end there where they talk about what will happen if Democrats win the 2024 election, you know? I think it's important. I was just telling Brad.
We'll never know.
I guess we'll never know. Just telling Brad, I think it's important to listen back to slices of news from, I tried to do it on my weekend show, but it just doesn't hit the same way as it would if I was doing it more often, because I just do one show a week, of course, doing the weekend show. But of what this day in history or this week in history held, and looking back 1 year, looking back 5 years, looking back 10 years, what were we talking about at that time? And I thought that was actually a pretty good time capsule for that. A couple of comments here, people chiming in, listening to Marjorie Taylor Greene say, Ender says she might have gone a bit batty for a bit, but she sounds the same here as she does now. There's that comment. And then this one says from Ivmai.
That's Frank.
Okay. It says, I think people like Marjorie just really want to get on major news shows and feel that trashing Trump is the only way to do it. So basically an attention play. Amy says, it makes me sad that MTG fell off the rails. I really did like her, even her kookiness. So, yeah, it's interesting stuff. I remember that interview thinking, well, probably 90% of the stuff that we all would agree with on the right side of the aisle, Marjorie Taylor Greene's right there. So, and that stood true. What's the results of this poll? Well, the question is, will the Epstein files boomerang on Democrats? The winner is yes, it will, 57%. And then second is it already has at 27%. And finally, last place is no, it will not at 16%. Thanks so much for being here today. We will be the Mannie Frey Show again tomorrow. And then Annie and, well, all of us really will be here Wednesday for a fun show pre-Thanksgiving. Thank you for being here. And if I forget to say it next couple of days, happy Thanksgiving. We're going out on a date tonight, my wife and I, to see The Running Man, apparently. Thanks for participating in that as well. We'll see you tomorrow.
And I got bad tattoos you won't believe. So kick out the jams, kick up the soul, pour another glass of that rock and roll, turn up the band, find the hole, gonna lose control tonight. What do you want from me? I'm not a married sweetheart.
It's time now for today's Spotlight on Money.
Thanksgiving is about feasting with family and friends, but cooking the big meal does not have to be a part of that tradition. Izzy Karish, president of Hospitality Works in Chicago, says the restaurant Thanksgiving is a trend that shows no sign of slowing down.
Just